over only 6 matches playing, and that is a massive amount of volatility.
Well, look, man, I really do believe in statistics and how calculations play out. We actually can go through them a little bit later in terms of where we think teams are going to end up. And I think that generally in a 16-team format where teams are all performing to a relative consistent standard,
Big W.
yes, that's absolutely fine. But here in survival stage, removing now the strongest group from the lobby and also a group that has terrorized a lot of our teams here, John. Yeah,
มาเจอกับ PUBG Mobile ครับ
because
Global
some
Championship
teams
อีกครั้ง
that
ครับ
were struggling over the past 2 days might suddenly step up with the absence of Group Green. I'm very, very interested to see how things do play out. Right now, Loops is our bubble team at 25 points, but you can see on the right-hand side of your screen there that a lot of teams are hovering around that area already. I think this initial game is going to be very important for at least one team in terms of safety and where they can lock themselves up in terms of the standings.
ดูกันอีกวันที่3
It is going to be a case of every single match might be the match that confirms a team into that top 16. Getting that chicken dinner will be absolutely essential. Some teams might do it off the back of 6, 7 eliminations per match, but each chicken dinner likely will be an alarm bell signaling that a team has made it into last chance.
Could potentially be
เจอกันระหว่างทางครับ
a lot of pressure
ปี
here.
ประตูครับผมไอซีจากการนั้นฝั่ง
for them.
อูริเอลไปครับ
On the western side have been cut
MSJ
short, and that's Team
แล้วก็วิโต
Queso.
ซัดครับผม
Be able to
สอย
do a
ล่วง
lot
มา
of damage to them as well.
มาเนี่ย
That's a
จาก
lot
เก
of
มนะครับ
points added
ทางด้านฝั่ง
early.
ทีคิว
4
มาแรง
and
ฮะ
they get away clean. All of them
ทางด้าน
still
ฝั่งทีม
alive
ซูสกลับไปก่อนแล้ว
and in such
ที
a
คิวยัง
strong
ฟื้นกลับ
spot
มาได้
in this circle. Team Queso onto a winner maybe.
Zeus getting cut out this early on is really bad for them. Actually, at 15 points, getting no points on their Sandhawk makes their next
วันนี้ผม
run
เหมือนไม่สบายคน
very
ดู
hard. Need to get 45 points roughly
แล้วร้อนหนาว
over the next 5 matches. That's not an easy result to go for. That's almost big games every single match. So we will see just exactly what the Turkish team can get done in the future. But right now, Team Queso extremely happy with that result. Inko, one show very low inside the building with an active alongside him.
Trying to hop around past these bullets, whizzing past them. They're just the same bullets that you'll see in your games, but they are far more deadly in this situation. Teams on the tables so unwilling to give ground, but they don't really have a choice when everyone else is bearing down upon them.
เลยดีครับอยู่กันหรือเปล่า
Falcons, they've managed to transition from boot camp, but they're still on their northeast side.
วันนี้
A
ผม
lot
เห
of
มือนไม่
teams
สบายคนดู
opting to go southwest, but not Getso Roy, not IWNRX. They're going to fight around the cave mound.
They leave themselves pretty exposed over towards that eastern side at least, but it is a good landing point in terms of vision.
สวัสดีครับทุกคนสวัสดีครับ
To siphon some of that information off is very nice. In terms of the rankings though, 9th place being 58 points is worrying. Some of our squads. And I mean, especially so for 4MV. What did they end up on yesterday? Was it 64 points?
นั่งเชียร์นั่นฝั่งแวมไพร์แล้วก็เฟกแคนครับตอนนี้
60.
ขอเป็นโหมดนั่งเชียร์ตอนนี้ไม่ไหวแล้ว
Yeah, 68 points for 4MV. So
ผมร้อนๆหนาวๆมากเลยคนดู
Yeah, so 10 more points would put you ahead of 4MV. And 2 teams are very close to hitting that marker with Major Pride and DX Xavier already at 58 points and 50. So we could be cutting teams out relatively fast, depending on how well
BTR มูไปฮะทางด้านเขาบนครับ
have
Tầm bằng.
already had good Sandhawks in the past. Major Pride used to be known
แมปแรกเป็นเนอร์ซานฮอคครับผมฮาซิลครับ
Sandhawk.
ไปแล้วมอไซค์นี่มันน่าเปิดจริง
Still Elementrix, Becca, both are very
ๆนะครับ
experienced
ขี่
on this
ปลอดภัย
map
กับ
in
ขี่
terms
ง่าย
of
นะ
playing on the
สะเทือน
northwest
น้ำสะ
side.
เทือนบก
We
ด้ว
do
ย
head down towards the south though, that will be a slightly different story for them.
Yeah, they seem to be Major Pride already up to the
มาดู
coastline.
ครับว่าแวมไพร์จะมูฟดีวะ
Decent position unless it goes over towards the cave.
3 แต้มนะแวมไพร์ตอนนี้
DX
จาก
Xavier,
การแข่งขัน
and you
ใน
talk a bit about
กรุ๊ป
Major
สเตจ
Pride and
Survival
DX
Stage
Xavier in
วันแรก
general, I think have been the most impressive
มันมี
part.
เซอร์วิสสเตจครั้งที่ 2 ของเขาครับ
The
ครั้งสุด
different
ท้ายด้วยครับ
10
ที่
to 11,
จะเป็น
they
โอ
are
กาสที่เขาต้องแก้ตัว
clear ahead. And DX Xavier
สวัสดีครับทุกคน
has
สวัสดี
the
ครับ
highest point average in the entire lobby, which is crazy considering that day was entirely against Group Green, who did so much work against the rest of the lobby. And at the moment, they're looking good to top the table, so they can keep up that pace here. They're moving in from the north side.
กล้าผมจัดการนะสโตนไหม
They could have a really solid spot on the hills to the
โอ้
east
โห
of Thailand.
สโตนล่วงแล้วเนี่ยสโตนโดนซ้ำอีก
Gonna continue
โอ้
to
โหแวม
rage
ไพร์
on.
ไปแล้วอีกหนึ่ง
Packets
ครับ
are in
ซวยจัดฮะ
IWNRX rocking up there early, but
ไปโดน
Loops
ครับ
and
รอย
Vampire
ดักเขาบอก
join
ปอ
it.
ร์เช่ครับ
Likely that Tiamba will see a slice of that too.
แต่แมปชันฮอกนี่บอกว่ากาชาปองเองนะวงมูฟอะไรเงี้ย
in by that docks
อุ้ย
area.
เนตสวยครับทางด้านฝั่งนายเอลครับ
Struggle bus
นาย
scenario
เอลครับผม
here.
จัดการนะ
Great
ซัต
nation
ซูโน
Neil,
อาร์
though,
ครับ
gets
ล่วงไหมฮะ
Roy finding two off the back of it. Now looking over towards Porsche and his
หวน
teammate
จัดแล้วตอน
Carl.
นี้แล้วนายเอลได้คิวด้วยนะ
Disgusting stuff in a
อุ้ย
second
นาย
one
เอลระเบิดต่อเลยฮะ
over the
ใส่
top.
นั้นปอร์เช่ครับนายเอลระเบิดแม่นจัด
Goodness me, Neil.
He's going straight through him. Not even doesn't even need to see him. Just launching these nades in. Perfect for Loops. And at such a crucial time as well. They've got 2 elims already now. They're looking to rack up those further 3 elims, sorry, from the nades that Neil found. And they are a bubble team blank. They were neck and neck with FaZe at the start of today. So starting off with a good day, with FaZe losing a player early, playing on the outside still, by the
อิ
way,
ตาลีครับ
by
มา
Ruins.
เบกา
That could be great news for Loops and Loops' fans.
เอ้ย
Major pride though.
มาแล้วฮะ
Doing their
ซัด
best
ทางด้านฝั่งครับ
over towards
บอลคอน
position.
เอา
Made
เกม
a
เอง
very
นะ
quick rotate down towards the southeast side. Now has worked out.
แวมไพร์เสีย 1
honestly.
คนเฟสแคนเสีย 1 คนนะ
The Falcons, on the other hand, very much not so. Down 4 players already in 15th place, only getting 1 elimination off the back of this game. Vampire also lost a player. Now for Vampire,
แต่ลูปวันนี้มาดีมาก
it is most likely done for them.
ไม่ได้เอาลาฟินยาลง
One
อะ
of
ลู
the
ก
teams that we can kind of call out here. To put it into
โดนโอบ
perspective,
โดมโอบป้านะครับทางด้านแวมไพร์ตอนนี้
a 10-point game
มีเนี่ยลาฟินยาขับรถอยู่
for just a tiny sliver of a hope to get in at 63 points. I do not see Vampires making it in unless they have, which they always keep in the back pocket, those comeback moments. And I think that that is something that Vampires are very much known for, but losing a player early doesn't bode well.
Losing Stoned early on, but they are in a position that is not unlikely to see a later stage of this game. But the difficulty is, of course, leaving here. Look at Loops' lineup on them. There's no way, unless they find a pick over towards the high ground, that they can make too much of a move. But actually, Loops are going to retreat a little bit, and Vampire take shots, harrying them as they fall back.
โหแล้วโดนเกี่ยวมั้งเนี่ย
IWNRX on the far side of the cave hill will be that roadblock to the rotate from Loops. And actually, on this circle, Loops is kind of more trapped than Vampire, weirdly enough, even though they have oversight onto it.
Vampire position
Vampire
แย่
closer
จริ
to
ง
the middle. Loops has to rotate either through IWNRX into Vampire. So they have to take a fight on this next rotate.
That next rotate will be extremely important as well, considering we're kind of on this crossing, right, where we have the river passing through Camp Charlie. Most likely teams will have to move down towards the southwest or back up towards that northeastern. Cave is very populated right now. It's a crowded area. You know, it's uncomfortable and a little
ที่
bit
ผมไปจ่อยางอ่ะ
hot over at that position.
โอ้ขี่ผ่านก็โดนแซวหนักนะเกือบล่วงครับดีเซเวียเกือบล่วงคู่ฮะอ้าวล่วงจริงอะลัมโบกินี่ฮะโดนสอยครับแล้วก็ซ้ำออกจากเกมไปเลยฮะทางด้านฝั่งเบกา
Yeah, they give up Lamborghini, but that is a price they seemingly are willing to pay. That is a nasty circle. Oh my god. The Bantai shift. This is about, I want to say, like 60% water in this circle right now for stage 4.
เฟสแคนนี่แช่วงมาแบบไกลมาก
Get Sir Roy going to lead the charge, going for a dunk first with Carr.
In terms of consistent performances, this cuts it out of the question anymore. It's never going to be consistent with a circle like this. You have to pray and hope that you got the circle shift off the back of it. And Team Queso very happy with their position. Although in the past we've seen Team Queso be cut down before, completely shut down on strong positions on the map. Now is the time for Team Queso more than ever at 26 points into this game to really extract some big value out of this one. Get themselves up to 40 points. Suddenly they're looking so much happier going into the rest of today. Now, the question is whether Team Case can actually get that done, because the amount of times they've been backstabbed and just allowed it to happen, it's a little bit too frequent for me to like personally. Inco now sending nades over towards Murin Sejong, who have had a massive dip in performance.
Nades over from Inko towards Mirin Sejong. Hoxie down, Seiwu can't really spend too much time going for this res, and another nade in may just make it impossible.
MSJ ล่วงครับโอเคโดนซ้ำไป
Mirin Sejong losing a player. Teams trying to make that crossing, trying to make it work.
โอ้แวมไพร์
Inko holding on to their slice of it.
เนี่ยใส่นิวแป๊บ
This is still over on the eastern side of the river, and Luke's opted to go for that direction for the fight. Get towards the river. Vampires still have 3, but Schweppes has been taken down by a nade. A double knock. One from the nade, one from the sidelines, and in hops Newsy. Schweppes can get res, and the Vampires may just live to fight another battle.
แต่นั้นฝั่งนูซี่เก็บไปครับตัวของลูปครับอ้าวมาตีเราแตกเองครับ
over towards K side, looking to control this position like 4 grizzly bears here from the cave. Looking down towards Vampire, who is the prey.
สวยเนี่ยแวมไพร์ได้มา2 แต้มตีลูปแตกแล้ว
These teams need to move importantly.
แต่ก็ต้องมูฟแล้วล่ะแต่โพซิชั่นแย่จัดเลยว่ะไม่มีรถออกนะมันเนี่ยมีรถอยู่แต่ไม่รู้จะขึ้นไปไงฮะ
They have vehicles, but what a nice angle there from Zedwolf all the way off towards that northern side.
เรียบร้อยโทนี่ฮะโทนี่เคโดนซ้ำออกจากเกมไปแล้วโดนขึงโพซิชั่นแย่จัดจริงๆแวมไพร์สวยจัดเลย
This is a stage 5 pretty much. This feels really nasty. The Camp Charlie situation only going to get worse from here. IWNRX trying to get to the coastline. Sure, you can invest a lot in taking down Vampire, but they are kind of throwing away the rest of their game. They're committing to this Elim points, and if they're able to get the rest of them, they're up to 5 on the game, which most likely would be enough to get to last chance. If you can keep up that average per match. Circle pops, and it is going to fully confirm down to that southwest side, so no slice of it for Paragin left. DXavier managed to make a cross, and over the side we go. Camp Charlie on the north.
โดนจ่อจากด้านข้างอีกเอ้าซีบูไปตีครับ
I think for Vampire it's most likely done and dusted
แต่
here.
แวมไพร์ไม่มีเลือดครับ
Double their point scoring with that.
หรือเปล่าโอ้ดึงเลือดทันนะ
A double first aid kit which I did not see coming through. They were both on 1 HP essentially.
อ้าวโดนนูซี่สวนครับซีบูครับแล้วก็ตัวของฝั่งโฟเซนครับล้มไปแล้วฮะอุ้ยแวมไพร์เอาจัด
And now we're looking heading towards the water, potentially live this game out a little bit further. Schweppes
เฉยเลยว่ะ
diving down towards the deeps because they
ขี่
need
ร
to
ถ
get
ซัดหน้า
deep
แล้ว
into
เมื่อกี้
this game.
Everybody's going to have seen that crash. Paragin, the backstop for DXavier. You can see the forward 2 players playing up to the cliffs. They're also going to be aware of this. I don't think there's a way that Vampire get away from this one. Paragin's going to have to regroup at some point. Team Queso have oversight with Melodious, who's got a wide flex out. And there it goes. That's Vampire getting eliminated. The points going to DXavier. They have 4 points now. And that is a spot as well across the way from Major Pride in Camp Charlie towards Paragin. So DXavier, 2 players left.
6 points for Major Pride and 4 for DXavier. Both placed themselves in a really good position here to qualify. They're still both in 9th and 10th place respectively, but that might change when it comes down to those placement points that come through. But 10 teams still in this one. ISI8, they said it was all about mentality. I can only agree because things do go from bad to worse. If you lose horrendously on a Sandhawk, it can kill how you think about the rest of your game really, in terms of the upcoming matches. But it's a nice outside chance here for ASI8 over on the western side. John, I actually do like the position. It's going to be a little bit difficult and will require them to eliminate some of the opposition on the north and south side, but I think they can do it.
They don't have too many chances to take a dip in performance on these games. I mean, you're talking about Vampire needing maybe 10 points every single match, right? They've just only gotten 4 in this one. For ASI8, it's not too far off either. Sure, maybe you reduce that to an 8, but it's still really, really tenuous, and I'm not sure that they can do it given their performances.
อย่าบอกว่าปาระเบิดโดน
We've seen from them on their last day of gameplay. See if they can stand tall here. This wide flex.
เฮ้ยจานวินว่ะวิตอเลนเอาจัด2คนเก็บ2
A big pick up on the picture in picture there with FaZe.
อุ้ยลูกซองดอกแรกไม่โดน
Moving in along the side of BTR.
โอ้นี่เดียว2 ดอกในทายครับดังนั้นฝั่งเฟสแคนนะ
Now the last to go for the fight. It's against Satar. The shot's not quite connecting, but the last one does, and BTR may be able to get the full reset.
ไม่ได้สักแต้มเลยอุตส่าห์สอย3เลยเนี่ยโอ้จานวินเอาจัดนะเมื่อกี้แต่ว่าโพซิชั่นเราก็สู้ยากครับ
I think you got to assume that you're going out at that point. Melo was a little bit far behind, and just getting the flushes might have been the better option. You're right, BTR might be able to get a full reset. It is looking a little bit tough there. ASI looking to clear out that northern side, like I was saying earlier. Taking a couple of shots from the sidelines, tickling away at him. We'll be able to get back, and 7 first aid kits indicate this man is going to be living for a while.
โดนมาครับเล่นถอยลำบากจริงครับ แต่ว่าการยิงการงัดสู้เนี่ยของทีมไทยเราเอาเรื่องอยู่นะแต่ว่าโพซิชันเราแย่เฉยครับคนดูผมไม่ไหวว่ะ
The high ground that Team Queso has is so powerful with 2 players there. BTR
เหมือนเป็นไข้เว้ย
along that ridgeline, assault it from that sidelines. Melodious now trapped in this split, and Team Queso may have held too much ground here.
For Melodious, I do like his position in terms of holding out on teams, but it has got to the point in time where he's like, oh crap, I cannot leave. Like, I am stuck here on the northeast side. There's no way I'm regrouping. And this is what we talk about with Team Queso. Sure, they've got 6 eliminations, but this should have been a much bigger game, right? I think they could have easily held 4 players. I think going for a split on this type of circle is the wrong decision, John. Purely off the back of the fact that there's no real strong chance to regroup with your squad come stage 5, stage 4, with the amount of angles that are held around the map. So for Team Queso, they could have had 4 players down towards Collega as well as Papi Potro, and now they cut that out. But the question is, how much longer can they live this one through with ASIA being able to get over towards that western side? Very nicely done.
Next circle comes on through. We're going southwest. If Melodious can get the regroup, Team Queso should be on a winner here. I don't think there's much more to say about it than that. The approach, though, is fraught with danger. Tiamba will have broadside on that rotate. Team Queso need to try and put Potro into position to deal with it, but then he's got BTR to try and handle as well on this angle. There is a lot of pressure on these 2 players right now, and I think BTR is in prime position to just take this one away from them. If they do, it should be a BTR win.
I like how you quickly went from this is a Team Queso win to this is a BTR win.
Well, it should be a Team Queso win, but only if they can hold it.
เป็นไข้
Yeah, I mean, as 2 players, it's tough. I think that, you know, the
ได้เรื่องครับเน็ตที
crashes will come in thick and fast over towards Team Queso's location. I think the best thing for Team Queso right now is this high ground position coming through from Melodious.
ผมให้เขา TQ ครับ
but not quite able to finish him out, and he's going directly into the waiting arms of Incilio, who do not greet him at all.
Evo Station โดนซ้ำ
straight through the door.
They let him on in, but is it into a trap? He's
อ๋อ
going to
เบ
get
กา
down.
โดน
Maybe
ต่อ
get
ฮะ
some healing done. No, that is
โคกวดเอาเรื่องครับ
Is that coming through from
จากเกมไปครับทางด้านฝั่งตัวของ
They
MP ครับ
managed to take that point away, but Major Pride get 8 elims on the game. They're up to 58 plus. I think is that 1
ได้ไป
or 2
8 elim นะ
placements there as well. So they are chilling right now. They are going to be putting themselves that much closer to getting a spot into this next one. The Xavier also going down with probably somewhere close to 63, 64 points. And again, another team looking good to try and confirm themselves in. Melodious cut down on the regroup, and now is BTR's opportunity.
Yeah, BTR has to play very careful though, because I know there's multiple teams here.
BTR นี่คือเอาเรื่องนะ
that BTR is being cautious on this. Do you find XC from Tiamba, who did make it
BTR คนครบแล้วลุ้นได้ไก่ครับ
and the circle shifts over towards this compound. So all eyes over towards ASIA and Team Queso. The 2-2 split between them with Incilio holding out in the open ground. BTR should be able to clean this out. Technically, they will need smokes to push up towards these buildings, but with Melodious being out of the picture, they no longer have that alarm bell in the backside here for them, providing that information back across. Tiamba working their way through.
Incilio will be in the way though, and you can see there's only one route of approach. They'll have to hold out.
ผมว่า BTR นี่น่าจะแชมป์แล้ว
Incilio moving in. BTR, remember they got a
move
full
ได้บ้านด้วย
reset. They almost all went down. It was on one fight. Satalis kept them in. And now they've managed to push up to one of the most important positions in this circle. Potentially finding a chicken dinner on the back of it. And if FaZe had taken down 1 or 2 of their players, it could have been completely different. But here we are. This is the reality we live in. The nade from Zuxi. Looking to put even more pressure over towards Team Queso. ASI8, they're down the cliff face, but could also third party.
The matter is here for BTR is
จ่อบ้านแล้ว
a very good read over towards Team K. So it starts out strong. They only have a few nades to work with. Papi Potro already very low. Does have to back it off. Good protection there coming through from Collega.
เอาแล้วครับขอโกดครับผมลงไปซักซี่ตีบ้านครับ
Will take down Collega. Papi Potro's next, and BTR claim this compound and are looking very strong.
BTR นึดบ้านนะครับผมแต่ว่าเชียนบายจะตีหรอ
More about after the game concludes because there is still more to be done with ASIA, Incilio, and BTR as well as Tiamba all looking for those top 3 positions.
BTR, they need to establish this perimeter quickly. Satar being on the outside is so important. If he goes
โดนสวนนะสตาร์เลสจะไปงัดครับโดน QCC จัดการฮะซ้ำเลยครับ QCC เจองูดักครับผมเอ้าตีเข้าหลังโอ้มันเน็ตสวยครับลาป้าลาพาสวยครับแล้วก็ซ้ำครับ QCC ไปครับ GG บอลครับออกจากเกมครับก็ยังได้เปรียบครับทางด้านฝั่งตัวของทีม BTR IQ ตอนนี้ก็จะเกี่ยวครับทางด้านฝั่งเลดลิกครับงูแสบจริงครับคนดูใช่เรียบร้อยครับแลกกันคนละหมัดครับเลดลิกครับดึงได้เนี่ยดึงได้แต่ว่าเป็นคนเดียวครับปะทะ3อะยังไงนั่นฝั่ง BTR ก็แชมป์ถ้าไม่มั่วนะฟาเช่ครับโดนจ่อไปครับเรียบร้อยครับเป็นทางด้านของฝั่ง BTR ผมได้แชมป์ไปฮะกินไก่ครับในชานฮอกอินโดนีเซียเล่นกันระวังมาก BTR แล้ว move ก็ดีด้วยผมรอจนเกมเริ่มแล้วกันนะเป็นไข้ครับ
Really well played to BTR, and that might just give him a chance into qualify.
BTR win, baby! Let's go, man. That'll definitely heat things up here, Max.
Oh, definitely for them. I mean, BTR are going to be so happy for getting that win, but can we start off right out of the gate, Hodrick? What a weird circle.
Dude, southern circle,
what a weird circle. He's playing mind games with us the entire time. Like, oh, yeah, 60% water. Now we go back onto Bantai.
วันนี้เป็นไข้ครับไม่มีพลังอะไรเลยไม่รู้ว่าภาคไว้เปล่าวันนี้
BTR sweeping the edge, which
หายใจไม่ออกแล้วเนี่ยร้อนๆหนาวเหมือนกำลังจะตายแล้วตอนนี้
do too often, but the way they did with FaZe, then Team Kesso, it was a thing of absolute pure beauty, Hodricks, and you know what? With their position before this game in 14th position, maybe this is the match to qualify them in top 16. That's how many points they were able to secure in this match.
Man, this got to also do big things for their mental game as well. You know, now they got this big chicken dinner off the rip. They can kind of, I mean, you don't want to relax fully, but I mean, gosh, that big weight on their shoulders has definitely got to be lighter now. Look at the stats right here. Zuxi with 3 eliminations. Satar as well with 3. Dude, I mean, this is exactly what this squad needed.
Yeah, and by the way, and this is something you guys can use in your own games when you're playing Ultimate Royale, is hold on to your utility until the last fight if you can. It like literally, what was it, 2-3 nades? That's all they needed to clear the entire compound of Team Kesso. Of course, Team Kesso only had 2 players, so it's easier than if it was a proper 4-on-4. But 2 nades, that is all they really needed to clear the entire compound and gain access to the game-winning location of this Sanhok match. Incredible push for them again, sweeping the southern coastal line versus FaZe. Also, FaZe had some challenges, but BTR instantly understood what was happening, regrouped, and then everyone was doing so much good work here. So, yeah, especially Zuxi, man. My man, 3 limbs here. No, he's getting back up there. He's getting back to his glory days, Hodricks, and it's great to see that happening live.
Let's go, man. And I'll tell you what, even the casters thought that Team Kesso was going to win, and when they had that big old compound right there for the most part. But man, BTR, high fight IQ, taking their time along that edge like you were talking about.
ไปเดี๋ยวรอดูแมปต่อไปครับทางด้านตัวของฝั่งอีรันเกอร์ครับ
because we're definitely noticing that at this high level, you gotta hold
คนดูผมไป
on
ห้องน้ำก่อน
until that last second. Team Kesso just got straight deleted. Now,
ไม่สบายหนักมากเลยว่ะ
I got a question, Max.
ใครเข้ามาบอกกันด้วยนะครับ
3-1 split with that melodious off angle.
I was about to ask you that question, Hodricks. After you bring it up, I wouldn't want to be called out for like, oh, but Max, you said you like the splits, like for example, Mirror and Sejong. I love splits. Early to mid game, not when you're going into like phase 5-6. It's a little bit too big of a stretch, and as we saw, Melodious was really struggling to make it back to Collega and Party+. If he was able to regroup a little bit earlier, maybe they win. Maybe the utility for BTR is not enough and they just sweep the southern side and then it's just an easy Team Queso cheese chicken dinner. You know, it's a very, very good win that could have been happening their way, but yeah, the regroup was just way too late, and I don't know if that was intentional or because there were too many teams around trying to cross from the eastern riverside and they just couldn't regroup. I think they could have, but they decided not to, which is a surprising decision.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, I don't know what was taking Tianba so long to get into Bantai. That was wild. I mean, that actually gave Melodius a little bit of an opportunity, right, to get 3 eliminations there. I think he got one of those knocks.
On XC.
Which really kind of, hamstringed Tianba right there. But yeah, I don't know why they just took to the last second to start moving.
I actually didn't even get it at the end. It was stolen by, I think it was Satar or someone from BTL who just snatched away that flush onto XC. So not taken for Team Queso, unfortunately. But yeah, I wrote in my notes, I think it was like a phase 3 going into phase 4 rotation on a coastal line circle finish, Hot Jukes. Like, that is so damn risky, but luckily enough for them, no one was in Bantai, and a lot of the focus of Team Queso was on those northern and western teams that were trying their best to just weasel their way through into that circle. So because of that, they were able to just make it in. Sure, they do lose a player on that transition, but 3 players alive, that's a good success ratio for, I think, a position, Hot Jukes, you would look and say, okay, this team they're done, they're out.
Yeah.
But they survived way longer than I initially expected.
Well, you know, looking at here at the match rankings, yeah, BTR 19 points. That is going to be just so clutch for them right there. Vampire doubling their points in one match from their last performance. Can you believe it, Max?
This is a bit, yeah, true.
100% improvement, baby.
But no, for the side of Vampire, this circle really screwed with them. I'm not, of course, like, you can't use the circle as an excuse every single time, but you're like, oh, it's a 50-50 split on the river. Yeah, Sanhok you can to some extent, but it's on the river, and they're playing the high ground of Cave, and then they're forced downhill. This team's our third party because of the bad circle pushing behind you. You're pushing downhill, then you got IWNRX just wrapping around your compound when you're downhill. Like, there's no escape, so I know this game, I'm like, okay, I can't really hold it against them, but I think Blank was saying it earlier, right, with how many points they needed. They need to have an insane average. And the thing is, this game, because it was a bad match, the average that they need per game on these last 5 matches is going to increase. And you're going to get to a point where the average you need is going to be almost impossible to reach every single match. So, yeah, we need to see something next game.
Well, yeah, we definitely do, because they needed, what, like a 10-point average? 4 is not going to be enough. So they need to catch up big time. It's literally chicken dinner time for Vampire at this point. You can see the overall rankings. These are all the teams that are safe. Let's go on to the second page here. Luke's still at that cutoff with 28 points, but we are going to see some movement. Look at that. You know, you got BTR sitting pretty, Cilio moving up, as well as Team Queso.
It is very nice to see BTR jump up from them 14th position up into 11th, but one team I'm a little bit surprised by, and not in a good way, has to be IWNRX. Like, they put on an absolute clinic in their group, right? And I was like, oh, IWNRX are going to be top 16 easily. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, but I'm in a position where, are they maybe gonna keep slipping because they didn't get much done this game? And it would be so rough for them because I think it was by 1 or 2 points in Group Red they didn't qualify. So imagine you just barely miss out on the top 3 and then you fail at the last hurdle. That would hurt. But Falcons in bottom 8? Oh my, okay, I'm crying inside.
This is not good. No. Yeah, this is not good for sure. I mean, we got 3 Air Gales left still here, and you know, one good match would definitely help them out, but still, I mean, do you see them in this position? It is just not a good sign at all.
Yeah, I mean, every team in this bottom 8 is not a good sign at all.
Yeah, even I8 didn't get the performance I think they were looking for, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was actually interesting for I8 because they were very late on the rotate, yet they still had somewhat of an entry point, but then they just have that big clash with Incilio and they lose players. I actually like that transition, but the thing is, when you don't have that compound and you're going uphill towards Team Queso, you've got so many teams northeast and west of you that see that transition, and I'm lucky. I'm happy to see them survive as, like, I think it was IQ and another player that would and Uzum. There you go. IQ and Uzum able to survive as long as they did. That does salvage somewhat its game to some extent. But we know that when you're looking at I8 and Vampire, those type of games are not going to cut it. You don't need average points. You need big wins. And unfortunately, I8, this is just helping a tiny amount, but it's realistically not enough when you see how many points they realistically need to make it to top 16.
Well, that's match number 1 in the books, folks, right there. You can see right there down below. Make sure you guys vote to see who's going to be the next interview. Who do you want to see? Falcons, Bigatron, or FaZe? That's going to be the big question right there.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. This one is going to be in regards to Major Pride, the analyst/host for today, Hot Jukes and Massman. You guys were wondering if Major Pride, if they get to a comfortable area, will they actually want to hot drop some of the other teams? I got a chance to talk to the players, and they say yes. So keep an eye out for that. As soon as they secure those placements, they will be looking for some of those teams that are trying to qualify to last chance but struggling. They're going to make their lives a little bit harder. Back to you guys. Baby,
That is one team you do not want gunning after you. I want to see it so bad, Max.
Team says they want to hot drop. Hodrix, you are now my favorite team. Thank you.
I just want to see them with the MG3 go brrr, against some of those squads that are going to be fighting for, because this is going to get wild after hearing that.
The thing is, we know Major Pride are like safe for top 16 with their points, right? They're just going to have a field day today. The thing is, I'm looking also at D Xavier that has been a hot drop-esque kind of team in the past. So like those two squads might be actually an absolute thorn in the side of these teams that are just competing to hopefully make it in the top 16. So man, yeah, you got to be careful because you got enemies in this lobby right now.
เชียร์กันอยู่ครับผมคุณ KBB ครับ JRB ขอบคุณเมมเบอร์ท่านแรกของรายนี้ด้วยครับ
and begins in Erangel. Let's see who's going to be able to get it done. Let's take it on over to our casters, John Allen and
Erangel ครับ
BTR buck the trend with a chicken dinner.
ผมอาจจะหายไปตอนช่วงเบรกนะ
Be heading on in.
ผมไม่ค่อยสบายบอก
From Primorsk up towards Kameshki on the plane path. Match 14 as we are drawing inexorably closer to 8 teams terminal location here in the tournament. We'll have to wait and see who it will be as we go around for our merry way.
มีไทยกัววันนี้มีครับผมเฟสแคนกับเล่นแวมไพร์ครับ
Second match here, obviously teams are
เกมเมื่อกี้
looking
โพ
for
ซิชั่น
more
แย่ไปหน่อย
points
ครับใน
on
แม
the
ปแรกครับ
card.
ก็
Some
เลย
teams already put
ได้
up
แต้มน้อยไป
quite the
นิดนึงอะ
number over that last game.
อ
BTR
อกยากครับผม
extremely happy with their result.
มาลองลุ้นกันนะว่าจะได้กินไก่หรือเปล่าเธอแวมไพร์
Really a nice indicator. It's really cool to see how Zuxi has developed as a player and as a person as well. I remember when that guy used to just be completely in the zone, shouting inside of
คือเรายิงได้นะแต่มูฟเราลำบากมาก
very just chilled out, calm dude that likes to play PUBG Mobile. It's really good to see, and I think that mentality shift has certainly helped him going from playing
เครื่องบินนี้ตัดจากซ้ายล่างขึ้นบนนะ
BTR for quite a while, and now making his return to the stage over the past year has been awesome. It's been really awesome, and I think BTR definitely deserved that last game. It was a good push. It was a good ascend over that top side into the buildings and a clear over towards the west.
The plane path just about reaching the end of it now. And the circle goes southwest, Blank. We haven't been down to Quarry in a while. Maybe it's time to take a trip down memory lane and send our teams back out that way. But could be Military Island as well. We'll have to wait and see.
Could definitely be. I mean, there's a small chance of that happening. BTR will play over on that northwest side, likely getting some vehicles.
เชิญมาทวงถามเจิมหน่อยอร่อยแน่อยู่หน้าเพจเลยครับผม
Especially 4v not inside the lobby here. And Celio
โอ้แต่วันนี้ผมไม่รู้ภาคไว้หรือเปล่าครับผมเหนื่อยมากนะ
already clipping the angel wings
เจมาถึงก็โดนสอยระยะไกลเลยหรือเปล่าเมื่อกี้
have to go it alone. Well, they're saving grace. Unfortunate stuff there for Miran Sejong, consistently losing play, still on 30 points. And again, this is the team that absolutely adores having
ซ้ำได้ด้วยเนี่ย
4 players alive. They can rotate off the back of. A little bit of high
ระยะ
ground
นี้ครับ
located
ไม่
for
พลาดนะ
Redlick and picking up that elimination. No chance to get him back up on his feet.
Not going to be there. And as much as you adore it, sometimes it's just not possible. If you can avoid it, preferable. But Miran Sejong on 3 players now, which is again a little cut short for them, and that's got to be a little bit worrying. 2 of your 3 matches now, you're losing players a little bit early, or 2 of your 6 matches today, you're losing players a little bit early on. Not ideal. Loops, they are looking to try and cause some waves here, Blank. And we heard from the players there, they're looking to try and change it up a little bit. But right now, they're the team that's fighting around that bubble, and they need to be careful.
Yeah, I think for Miran Sejong, at least, just going back, their angle is their best map as well. So, the first one done it like this. Well, it's not good. It's not good. BTR
ขอโทษด้วยฮะวันนี้ขอโทษจริง
not the team I expected to be ahead of IWNRX, but here they are. They're certainly fighting hard to stay at the top side of the lobby.
เป็นโหมดดูแข่งก่อนนะครับคนดู
I mean, that's what it is all about, isn't it? It's so tense, and when you're playing these short form tournaments, every single match matters so much more, and that really weighs on the mind. We saw a little bit of an elimination focus in day one for teams in this lobby, and in day two, we saw that fall off a little bit as teams started to get a little bit more worried. Obviously, Group Green, it was their last day of play, so I think we saw a little bit more consistent approaches to the lobby from them, whereas everyone in day one was a little bit more bombastic. Let's see where Group Red and Group Yellow settle when pitted against one another in terms of that dynamic. On Erangel, on Sandhawk, I feel like that kind of wasn't really representative given how crazy that circle was, right? On that south side, hard into the water, making everybody's lives super difficult, so things get a bit crazy. So I'll be interested to see what happens here, although we've got a not entirely non-crazy circle on the southwest side.
Oh, we do, and we do have an in-game interview coming up for us very soon. This is going to be well, we're not actually entirely sure what this interview is, but it's with Seven, and he's going to hit you up with some hard-hitting analysis.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. In this one, I have none other than Rafinha with me from Loops.
มีสัมภาษณ์ลาฟินยา
Going into Erangel, we've seen a lot of teams having to adjust drop locations. Are you guys
Rafinha
also going to
เล่
have
นอยู่
to
สัม
adjust
ภาษณ์
any drop
Rafinha
locations?
Então, ele perguntou para você que viram que
แป๊บนึง
muitas
ครับ
das
โอ้โห
equipas
ผมไม่ไหวจริง
estão
ว่ะ
trocando de spot no momento. Vocês indo para o segundo jogo do Erangel, vocês estão pensando em trocar de spot?
Bom, nós esperamos algumas surpresas nos nossos spots, porém é aquilo, né? Vamos vir com os mesmos spots e quem sabe alguns ajustes em algumas rotas, mas nada de diferente. A nossa mudança está mesmo no estilo de jogo.
So they sound like they're expecting some surprise like during the spots, but for them they're not gonna change it. They're just going like for their own spots, and they of course they're gonna do like some minor adjustments, but they'll be like ready.
Right on. Well, I can't wait to see what those minor adjustments have been. Let's actually rally back a little bit there for at the beginning of PMGC. You guys are kind of like the first time in PMGC. How's the team feeling now after all these weeks?
Então, tá falando que vocês não é a primeira vez na BMGC, mas nessa semana como que vocês estão se sentindo agora?
O começo era aquela quebra de gelo e eu sinto que agora todo mundo está mais confiante, né? A presença de Paulo comentou, a gente sente mais vontade de estar aqui e é isso, né? Tudo pelo sonho, então isso aquece a gente e faz a gente estar aqui muito mais feliz. E é isso, cada dia, um dia após o outro, a gente volta sempre melhor.
So of course, like in the beginning, it was just like the icebreaker, but now like they got just like to be on the stage, they're ready, they're like feeling confident. Of course, they're here for their dream, so every day they'll be like doing the best.
Right on. I'm pretty sure a lot of Brazilian fans are hoping that you guys make it to last chance. Obrigado. Boa search. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. So they are just looking to maintain consistency here for Loops. It was Loops. Okay, there we go. We did catch up with Rafinha there. Thank you very much, Seven, for dishing out all that juicy info. And on the bubble, I don't think I can blame them too much at all. It is just about keeping a level head in that scenario.
I'm glad you heard it.
I know, no, see you on
yesterday I heard the rat-tat-tat, today I heard so a little bit unfortunate for
Sound
me.
effects are blank.
Yeah,
He's a Foley artist.
I am. There you go. That's. Why don't you fill me in? Fill me in. What just happened?
They were saying they're not changing their drop spots. They're just going to try and stay consistent. They're feeling okay, calm after the weeks that they've had away from the game. Obviously, not playing in that Group Green scenario. But they're feeling okay.
Good to know, Loops. I'm glad you guys are all right. The Loops are okay. Yeah, in 16th place. So everyone at home, places that you should be taking major consideration of here, just in case you are just tuning in. 17th down to 24th will be going out at the end of today. So for all these teams, their main goal right now is to get above that 16th point barrier, or just in 16th place is fine for Loops, but it is a little bit tenuous with Falcons hot on their heels with 27 points. So for a lot of our squads, we are looking to just
ในวงสเตจแรกนี่คือค่อยๆเล่นไปมีอะไรพิมพ์คุยได้ผมให้ผมได้รีแอคได้ตอบพวกคุณหน่อยแต่ตอนนี้ผมพลังน้อยมากครับผมไม่สบายหนักครับ
into a very secure position inside the lobby and almost certainly making it through to that top 16 and last chance which starts tomorrow.
W ครับ W
Quarry time right now as we head over to the northwest
วง
side
บีบ
of
เข้าเมืองครับ Quarry ครับ
BTR are needing to get a good crossing here. They're up to 46 points off that game, which is a really big jump for them. Very nice to see. As Team Queso making their approach from this eastern side
รีเฟซหน้าเพจรัว
as well.
ๆทิปพี่ช่วยได้
Potentially a difficult
ทิป
time.
พี่ช่วยได้เหรอคนดู
You're talking about Major Pride needing a couple more. They are right on the east side of the circle, and Tianba are rocking up into this location a little bit further north than Major Pride. So we'll see if they can get into a little bit of a scrap with it. DX Avia, very, very central, and these points may just come their way, the ones that they need to solidify themselves.
Rafinha's down. He's not okay after all. Oh, good stuff. For you guys over in chat, you
อิตาลี
can
ครับ
vote
ล
on
ง
the
ไป
next
กด
interview
ฮะ
coming up between the Falcons, Bigatron, or
อัด
FaZe.
รัว
So make sure that your vote is known, exactly who you want to see Seven speaking to, which player you want to hear from. So let us know over in that poll that will be popping up over in the English YouTube chat as well as the Indo chat as well. And you can have an impact on the show.
อ๋อไม่มีเจิมเหรอโอเค
It's always good to see. Just like Major Pride having an impact on Team Queso right now, you too could have that sort of a say on what's about to happen. Because right now, Melodious, he's not that split this time, but he's still going to go down nonetheless. And Major Pride putting up another point will put them at 60 on the cards blank. They've made it past that really, really difficult barrier that so many teams would love to be on. And the question is, can they get even more done? Can they put themselves closer to 70 this match? They're starting off the right way.
For Major Pride, it's not a lot of points that they need going forward. I think around about that 65 to 70 point margin is where we basically said that's a safe position to be in, especially with the points margins up towards the top side of the late table, which have been juicing up a little bit. It might reduce the points down towards 16th, but yeah, 65 to 70, and you could just be like, we're done for the day. We're finished. There's no way we're leaving it.
Becker on the tree. Collego seems to have heard these footsteps, but a long nade to the back lines connects a little bit of damage to Team Queso. They are circling now, pushing them on to the downstairs floor. Major Pride has sent Team Queso to the basement. And trying to keep them there may be a little bit difficult, but they'll try and get this point value from it. Evo Station
เดินแรงมากใส่ครับ
in they step up to the tree.
ปาปิโปโต้
A lot of damage, but doesn't get the knock here.
ไลน์นี้ผมเงียบๆซึมๆด้วยขออภัยด้วยฮะ
Takes a lot of damage. The off angle may
ผมไม่สบายนะครับ
It's just through the front door they go. And
โอ้โห
Collego now
มีแต่
from
แมตช์
the
มันๆ
low
ว่ะ
ground
อยาก
needs
พา
to
ชิบ
try
หาย
and
เลยแต่
keep
พลัง
Team
ไม่ได้จ
Queso
ริง
in
เลย
this one. Has one player close by. And Milosa trying to move around the edge. That is a good spray, a good pickup on the Becker.
ยังดีนะวงหนีน้ำได้อยู่
That will be a little bit of an opening for them to get taken down here, but it's a 2v3 and they are still in control.
Major Pride apparently keeping neck in the basement. A weird turn of events, but there you have it. Major Pride looking for a few more points here on the game. 4 points total would be nice, and it is looking more and more evident that they will pick this up. But a 3 versus 2, not entirely impossible here for Team Queso. Currently sat in 16th place, right on that bubble. Sorry, in 14th with 34 points total. It's not doing
งานลูกค้า
too
ผม
badly
ต้อง
for
ดึง
them.
ให้ถึง
I
2
think
ทุ่ม
they
ฮะ
can go a little bit further potentially. It's going to be hard to dismount Team Queso from this position, but it's a completely
แต่อีกจักรวาลหนึ่งนี่ผมว่าน่าจะต้องพักคู่ชิงที่3ครับเจอกันคู่ชิงชนะเลิศเลย
Major Pride can just kind of sit around this area for as long as they like. A nade pin being pulled here, and Team Queso might have to scarper.
จะจ่อทีมเคโซ่ครับ
Nade doesn't connect. Going down
TQ.
the stairs is almost as much of a death sentence as trying to go up them.
ล่วงไปหนึ่งครับเคโซ่
That's exactly what you can't
ระ
do
เบิด
there.
ยัด
Trying to go for the trade.
ไมโล
and there's
ซ่า
the nade
แตก
to
ครับ
confirm it. Collego right around
โห
the
มี
corner.
แฟดด้วย
Hits him with the stunner on the bounce. Taking steps, they know the angle. Incilio, they're up into the fight. That's BTR as well. Goodness me, third party's finally
โดนข้างนอกอะดิเจอ BTR ซอยฮะ
as Major Pride torn apart. And
ถ้าคุณ
maybe
ไม่ลง
bring
รีบ
down
ไป
the
รีบเคลียร์นี่ก็ลำบากฮะ
safe. As Elementrix looks to try and turn off the climate control down here. and will unleash a hail of bullets. Unfortunately, Incilio
สวยครับ
now
เกียร์นั่น
taking
คอโกดจนได้ฮะ
as finally Collego goes down short.
โอ้ยกลายเป็นทางฝั่งอินซิลิโอเข้ามาชุบมือเปิดฮะ
Wide split to get some
จัด
insight
การ
into
อีโว
this
ไปครับ
fight
เจอ
as
กัน
Major
นะ
Pride full
ไอ
second.
ซ์ซี่ครับนะมันมีไอซี่กับไอซี่แหละเรียกไอซ์ซี่เลยจะได้แยกง่าย
need to put a huge margin on their point values today. They only need to get a couple. So if they get
Yeah,
4
ถอยอะ
wins per game,
Hover
that's going to
clap.
be absolutely fine for them. Lepar sending the hovercraft
เฮ้ย
water.
Stuck the landing. 10
Oi.
out of 10.
Oh my
Wait,
god!
is he's side raiding the hovercraft.
เดี๋ยวนะ
Someone
มัน
get back up.
มันดิฟข้างมันขี่ได้ไงวะ
He was wing walking it. That was
โอเคพังละ
unbelievable.
ตอนแรกเห็นมันดิฟข้างไว้
He's upside down now though. That's a done for.
Yeah. Well, it got him like a good 10 meters. I'll do. Not sure the
Onsen
greatest of
side
plans
ball
was
chair,
to
man.
just throw yourself off the cliff in the hovercraft. I get that it's quite slow, but I'm pretty sure he could have disengaged from there. Zeus, 15 points. Team desperately needs a big game early on today. Because honestly, for these teams who are low down the rankings, you need a big game early to at least give you that sense of this is doable, this is possible. I think once you get in towards that third match and you're on 10 points, the mentality starts to degrade, right? You have a bit of that brain rot coming through, like, we're not going to make it anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, it can be really terrible feeling that sort of consumes your performance, and that's where a team can really make or break it, right? And having the ability to just stand up and say, you know what, I'm going to give this the best shot that I possibly can, even in those dire scenarios. Still having that mental
ไอ
fortitude
คิวครับซัด
is
มา
the
เนี่ย
sign
ล่วง
of
ไป
a really strong player. And even if you're not playing for this tournament, even if
โอ้
you think you're
ออน
already
เซ็นล่วงครับ
out, done and
โอ้โห
dusted, and maybe that's
มอ
what's
แมนครับ
happening to
ซัด
Zeus
ซี
here.
วูฟฮะมอแมนก็ล้มเหมือนกันเจอจูเก เป็นศึกสามเศร้าบทสดนะ
will be the envy of many rookie rosters as Uzum hops out, takes
เขามา
down
เก็บงาน
another
ครับชุบมือเปิดฮะ
against the
ทางด้าน
spray
ฝั่ง
down. That's
ESi8
great news for ASI8 actually to be able to pick up another point or
ESi8
two in the dire position that they hold. But having that mental
แต่
fortitude,
เฟสแคนล้ม
you're not
สองอ่ะ
playing
ดึง
for
กัน
this
ได้หรือเปล่า
tournament,
ไม่รู้นะ
maybe, but you're certainly playing for your future teams, your future rosters. You're playing to get picked up if you want to move
ดึงได้
teams,
เฟ
or
สแคนดึง
you're
ได้
playing for your teams next season, and that is how you make a champion team.
Yeah,
That
Fair
have
Say
been
and
the
Zeus
wall.
is completely this opposite ends of the spectrum right now, where Zeus
ได้
they
เฟส
have
แคน
that
ดึงได้
horrible
ดึง
game
ไม้หม
on
ด
Sandhawk. They're not able to get back into it. The ASA, on the other hand, they get a really good salvage run. They're on Sandhawk, third place, and a couple of eliminations. Now come through into Rengel, feeling a little bit more reinvigorated here. They hold the ditches over towards the northwest side. Not a bad position to be in, but Tiamba is in front holding them out. But Tiamba's holds have been a little bit buttery.
โอ้
They've
มอแมน
been
โดนกล้า
letting
ยิง
them
เฮดช็อต
slip
แล้ว
quite a few
ล่วงอีก
times. We'll see what they
อุตส่าห์เพิ่ง
can
ดึงขึ้นมา
do versus ASIA, but I'm more worried about DX Xavier, who was slightly off.
เอาแนว
towards
แวมไพร์ โอ้โห แวมไพร์ไปชาร์จครับ โดนสวนฮะ
Against Vampire. IWNRX looking
Nuzi
to
ล่วงครับผม
Vampire looking to ascend, but Nuzi's down first. And the opener is good for IWNRX. They're looking to try and get that flushes.
โอ้โห
Victorious.
ระเบิดล้นระเบิดด้วย
FaZe,
เฟ
that's
ส
one
แคน
of the
ล้มอีกใน
best of
ฟีด
this fight.
โอ้โห นูซี่ โดนซ้ำออกจากเกม
Multiple
นะ
threats to deal with, but they're doing okay for now. Zedwolf gets the flush over towards Vampire. That's not
ป
a
วด
second
ตาเลย
knock.
พี่เวียนหัวผม
Nades over towards the backline. Tony K not going to get tagged up by that one.
ร้อนๆหนาวๆก็เลยเอาอะไรประคบเย็น
Swain moving on in. The hovercraft again. Returning on through. Not too maneuverable there. Swain needs to be careful on the hop out. There is a
Oh,
knockback
Tony
as
K
well
ก็
from
โด
the
น
backline.
Seawolf สวนมา
Satara's got into position. Zedwolf spots Tony K. And IWNRX keep all of their players alive. Vampire
อย่านะครับ อย่าบอก
once
นะหมดทีม
again finding their seams tearing. And it is a terrible
สวย
time to be a vampire.
สโตนเอาหน่อยสโตน
Just managed to get one back. Tony K though still knocked, still bleeding out
โอ้
on the
เซเวฟ
outlines.
จะโดนซ้ำหรือเปล่าเนี่ย
I mean, it ain't done yet. I mean, BTR, though, starting to chime in. Sitar on a big old wrap over towards that western side.
โฟเซนยิงกดแล้วฮะ
Schweppes trying to stay alive here. Has to drop the nade early on. Moves away
อุ้ย
from
จังหวะ
it in
ตัว
the
เปิด
meantime, but Frozen has good eyes
โอ้โห
towards it.
ระเบิด
Should
แล้ว
be
ก็
good
ซ้ำเลยฮะ
over towards
เซเวฟ
the
ล่วงครับ
Schweppes on 1 HP.
Timing การมูฟมันยากจริงฮะ
He does go down. What a way
โอ้
to
โห
start it. For
แวมไพร์ไปอีกแล้วครับ
that might be the final nail in the coffin for them. I don't think they're getting back up from this one. The Vampires will stay sleeping. during the survival stage.
They've got 4 more matches, but you're right. It is such a monumental task. They need
โอ้
3
นักพากย์บอก
chicken
แวมไพ
dinners
ร์
at least out of these next
ส
4
เตย์
games
ส
to
ลิป
be
ปิ้ง
able to find it.
ก็ยังหลับไหลอยู่ฮะ
They're
แวม
looking
ไพร์ยัง
pretty
หลับไหล
happy
อยู่
right
ใน
now,
survival
rolling up
stage
towards Tianba, not a care in the world, but maybe they should have had some. As Levi's does go down, and shotguns from QZ, they're pretty deadly. You've got to be careful. Levi's flushed, and out in the open, DXavier
ลายมูฟอะไรแม่งแบบ
3 players alive.
โดนดักหมดเลยว่ะ
Gonna try and look their
ซวย
way.
จัดเลยแวมไพร์
Takes a lick of damage, and Noki
คือยังไม่ได้เล่นแบบ
tries to follow it up with
ไป
a
ขึง
funky
เขาเลย
rundown.
อะ
Doesn't quite
โดนเขา
tag
ขึง
on,
ตลอดนะซวยจริง
As Nade stays alive, gets the heal, and drops the smoke.
ได้เหยียบแต้มเองใช่แล้วเกมนี้0 แต้มด้วย
DXavier holding on to this one very, very well. Even be able to get a knock over towards ASIA as they made that push in. It was a good opportunity for ASIA to get something done here, John, considering
คือเข้าไปต่อต้องเป็นที่16เป็นอย่างต่ำนะคือต้องกินไก่ทั้ง2 รอบเลยหรือไม่ก็ต้องหลังจากนี้10 แต้มไต่ไปเรื่อยๆพลาดไม่ได้แล้ว
Their run's done, I would say. You know, they're up to 67 points now. I don't think they have to do too much more. They should be comfortably in towards that top 16. Any more points
ถ้าจะไปในลาสแชนนะ
is just the cherry on the cake.
With the games that we've seen so far today, we've had a lot of points concentrated towards the very low end and the very top end of each of these groups, which means that the bubble has gone down slightly in terms of where I'm expecting it to be. And in general, getting over that 55-point mark right now is going to be enough. But of course, that can change. It started up towards 58 today, and so that drop off, you can just see how volatile it is on these low match settings. With only 12 to play, it can change at the drop of a hat. And you called it right at the start, right? It's so hard to predict.
แต้มมีวงไหมครับมีครับผมแต่โอ้โหต้องท็อป4อ่ะถึงจะมีแต้มอะแต้มน้อยวง
Pretty tremendous run at the moment. Hansel not able to find a shot over towards
มีล่าผมซัดจูเคนเอามาดีวะเฟสแคนไหมเฟสแคนได้ซูโนอาร์ตปอร์เช่บอกวิตอเลสซัมเมอร์ซูโนอาร์ตไปครับเอาเรื่องกองไม่จับไม่เป็นไรครับเป็น BTR ซัดกับนั่นโดน NRX อยู่อะ
IWNRX with 2 players alive, trying to fend off 3 from BTR. 3 eliminations already from BTR.
แล้ว elimination ไอ้ลอยออกไปได้
They're having a very,
ขึ้นมา
very good
เป็น
day.
3 แต้มแล้วถ้าด้านฝั่งเฟสแคน
Point mark now on this match, but a big nade over to Hansel. Lands perfectly for Kine, and they will just be able to take this one down. I don't think that Zuxi's going to be able to curtail it, and the shots are sending out his way as well. Frozen suppresses the tree line. They're looking for that flush. They could just molly him out, force this peak as Lapar goes down to an off angle from Incilio, who, by the way, are now the best performing team from their group, from Group Red, having surpassed IWNRX in that last match. But that's not going to go down too well with IWNRX. Looking to keep this one rolling. 5 elims. They're looking to push through BTR, get them out the way, and move along this forested ridge.
A huge moment here from Zuxi. Looking to peek out from the side.
เดินใส่แล้วผมเดินฝั่งเคนครับเรียบร้อยซักซี่ครับ
BTR goes down in the 3
BTR ครับ
versus 2.
จบไป3 แต้มนะ
IWNRX 8 eliminations now for them. A really strong performance from IWNRX in this game.
ตอนแรกมันมีเมตาหนึ่งคือในวงมันแต้มเพสเมนต์มันค่อนข้างเยอะอันนี้เขาเหมือนแบบแบ่งแต้มมาอีลิมพอยต์แบบเยอะจัดเลยใช่ตามคอนเซ็ปต์ที่แรกก็เป็นอย่างนั้นเลย
I think they got 22, 21 points, something like that, off of that single game. There are only 2 players here, and I'm not expecting them to stand up to that tally, but we know that they have that bounce back in them, and they are displaying it here. There is a reason that people are so worried about this team from Turkey, Blank. They have a lot of power behind them. And you leave Frozen and Kine in a fight, you might just find out what it's like to be up against them.
They're a topsy-turvy squad. That's the problem with them. They're either up or they're down. There's no real in between at the moment.
เหมือนที่1ได้แค่10 แต้มอะกินไก่
For fans, I imagine, to watch where they either go out without a whisper or come in loud and swinging. Incilio, though, really good games from them so far. Honestly, Incilio have impressed. They're one of the teams I think a lot of us just didn't have on our radar at all. But they've been doing quite well off the back of it. Just some good rotates, some good clean gameplay. I think they're this team that just has above averages across the board, but then combine that with very good teamwork. And that just makes a strong team happen. Like, there's nothing
มาลึกอย่างนั้นคนดูใช่ปะ
Not an insult, by the way, but there's nothing incredibly special
แต่นั่น
about
นี่ครับ
Insidio,
MSJ
but it doesn't have to be. They're just
ดึงสุด
consistent.
ละทุ่งหญ้าสง่านะครับ
It is
ออกไม่ได้
very
นะ
impressive what they've been able to do. I don't think they're yet in the conversation for a
อุ้ยแต่
top 6
ข้างๆ
position
เนี่ย
low blank, which would be
ข้าง
necessary
ๆเนี่ยฮะ
if they want to
ข้าง
get
ๆครับ
to
อิน
those
เตอร์เลส
grand
ข้าง
finals.
ๆครับ
But they are definitely, like you say, just so consistent. Very
เฟส
talented
แคนคือ
players
ปัญหา
on the
คือ
roster.
ข้างๆครับ
Falls
ฟอร์คอนได้บ้านนะ
real
ตอน
big
นี้
factor of
เอาเรื่องอยู่
their
นี่ฮะ
performance
โดน
as
ตอ
well.
ดครับ
Their positioning is nice. It's their team fights that
อาจจะ
sometimes
ต้อง
let
เค
them
ลียร์
down.
ทางด้าน
The
ฝั่งไอ้
mechanical
ตัว
skill
ดี
is
เซเวีย ลิมโบกินี่ฮะ
sometimes by
ตอดไม่หยุดเลย
other
ตอนนี้
players in this lobby,
ห
but
รือไม่ต้องถอยไป
they
ตี
give themselves
ข้างๆฮะ
those favorable coin tosses
ข้างๆเป็นอะไร
whenever
ข้างๆเป็น NRX เหรอ
Yeah, it's
ผมว่ายังไงก็ต้องตี NRX แหละให้รีคูปหน่อยฮะคอนเซนต์นี่ขึ้นกลับไม่ได้นะผมว่า อาจจะต้องขยับรถนิดหนึ่งไหมเฮ้ยมอร์แมนได้ NRA ดีเซเวียมาแล้วหนึ่งอะเอาเรื่องมีล่า เอาแล้วฮะไปอีกหนึ่งครับเฮ้ยเฟสแคนมีลุ้นแชมป์ว่ะ
Frozen still going, and I mean these
โอ้
two players on the
ก
south
ดได้
ridge.
สวยเอาให้ตาย
Fearsome presence.
โอ้
FaZe gonna
โดน
try
สวน
and
อีกครับ
step up for
อิน
it.
ซิลิโอ
Westron
ก็มาตอดฮะ เติร์ด
answering
ปา
with
ร์
a
ตี้
volley
ครับ
as well to help IWNRX in this instance. Actually backs them off this angle. Next circle.
แรกๆก็เน้นแต้มครับหลังๆมาเปลี่ยนเน้นข้ามมาก่อน
Where's
เพ
it
ราะงู
gonna
ไม่ค่อย
shrink
สนุก
out
ใช่
northwest, so off of the ridgeline for all of these three teams on the south.
โอ้วินเตอร์เลสล่วงฮะ
Falcons eating hearty right
อิน
now.
ซิลิโอมันมาแจมมาเดเรากำลังบอก NRX อยู่ซวยจัดเลย ดึงวินเตอร์เลสได้หรือเปล่าไม่รู้ว่า
Just kind of alive remaining for the squad. Good shots over towards FaZe recently, and they've got a long way to go. But Falcons almost certainly on for a win here with that circle shift over towards that northeast side. They've been relatively quiet, but I imagine that dial will be
NRX ตีอันนี้นะอินซิลิโอเด้
later on in the game.
Ooh, the battle for the top spot of Group
โอ้โห
Red
วินเตอร์เลสออกเกมว่ะ
goes the way of Incilio.
อะไรดึงไว้3คนนะ3คนยังไหวอยู่ฮะโอ้โหดูเราดิไม่อยากจะคิดภาพถ้าระเบิดมันลอยมาฮะ
Even if they can't take down the Falcons, they could be onto a winner here. In terms of that points gain and keeping themselves even safer up towards the top.
เอาเขาตีกันเองแล้วแบบนี้ดีดิเฟสแคนหาที่เล่นแล้วครับโอ้โหแต่ออกมาก็โดนอินซิลิโอตอดเหมือนกันฮะแต่เหมือนมุมของอินซิลิโอดีกว่าแต่ต้องเข้าวงอยู่ดีฮะวงมันบีบลงไปด้านล่างครับ ทุ่งหญ้าสังหารเอาละ3ทีมฮะอย่าล่วงนะมอร์แมนโอ้โหมอร์แมนลุยโอ้โหไอ้ฟอลคอนก็ตอดอีกอย่าโอ้อย่าโอ้โหเหี่ยวอีแรงเกี่ยวอีแรงเก็บหมดเลยฮะฟอลคอนนะผมเจอเก็บศพหมดนะออนเซตหุ้ยตายว่ะในทรายครับโอ้เสียดายเจอฟอลคอนผมว่าฟอลคอนมันยึดบ้านเนี่ยฮะอยู่ดีฟอลคอนมาดีเฉยเลยครับโอ้เราอุตส่าห์อยู่เต็มสควอตหวานๆเลยแต่ว่ามูฟเราลำบากครับเราตีด้านหน้าไม่ได้โดนข้างต่ออีกเสียดายมั้ยฟอลคอนน่าจะได้แล้วแบบนี้หวานๆเลยฮะภาพมาฟอลคอนนะไอซี่ท็อปออกมาปาดหนึ่งครับเหลือคนเดียวครับนั่นฝั่งตัวของอินซิลิโอเรียบร้อยว่ะเฮ้ยอ้าว1-1เฉยเอาโอ้ยระเบิดยอดสวยครับไอซี่ครับเกือบไปแล้วครับฟอลคอน
will put them down, and the Falcons find themselves a win on this game. What a terrifying push coming through from Incilio. Fantastic stuff from them. The rollout, they really had to plan far ahead to come through. They were instantaneous, and I think it absolutely caught the guys. Despite all that though, IWNRX with a 4th place and a bunch of eliminations. Really, really well done.
ไปเดี๋ยวรออีเลนเกลครับ
Fight was way too close, Max, man.
อินซิเลโอนี่ก็น่าจะเสียดายเหมือนกันเกือบได้หมดทีมแล้วไงแต่โดนเนทของนั้นฝั่งไอซีสไปก่อนฮะ
After that performance, I think Falcons are feeling real comfortable, huh?
Yeah, I mean they're going to be looking happy because they just slipped down in the bottom 8-2, right, Hodrick? So this is the perfect time to get yourself a win. I was scared for a second there. Like, no, there's no way Incilio actually get it because they had center control. Look at that thumbs
บอล
up.
คนนี้คือวัยรุ่นมองโกอะ
Happy East. But they did not expect when they did the solo push, well, the duo push on the solo of Incilio, they did not expect the nade going into it, then a DBS shot on the side. Like, that was an instant pivot. And it really worked out great for him, but luckily enough, they had the nade to put the nail in the coffin here for Incilio. The thing is, sure, Falcons win it, but I gotta say, this is also a great game from Incilio. They moved around so well.
Look, this is where I went wrong. Top decided to go left, and that forced a 1v1 situation. If he would have just been with his teammate, they would have overwhelmed him. But he just tried to go for that little cheeky off angle, got caught, and then Icy. Look at this nade. Didn't have to look. The look away nade to win the game.
เดี๋ยวผมมานะคุยต่อในแมตช์หน้าครับ
So
ผมขอไป
you don't agree with the fact that they sent one to the right and one
น
to
อน
the
ทำ
left?
สมาธิก่อนประมาณ5 นาที
Well, the reason why is because what happened was East can't see behind his head, right? So he feels that top was right beside him. So they thought that they were just going to be able to overwhelm pre-fire and get the dub. But at the last second, top decided to go to the left. And I don't think he told his teammate, hey, I'm going to go on an off angle, like hold on a second so we can both like go at the same exact time. And that one little mistake could have cost them the game.
I actually like the idea of sending one to the right and one to the left. I think that was actually the intention. I think they communicated, let's just try and go for 2 angles because it's one player. It's one player, right? So he can't just spray transfer depending on what weapon he has onto us. We're going to have 2 angles. He's only got a ridge line or like he's hiding behind one of those containers and we can easily get it clutch. But again, the nade for them was very unexpected. And the fact he chucked that nade and instantly gets the knock, it gives him so much more breathing room to then transition player, then get the shot with the shotgun and get that knock. So I think that was a good idea from Falcons, but it's just an incredible good clutch from that solo of Incilio. I don't think it was a misplay. It was just a clean clutch.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea, but the timing has to be perfect. Like they have to both decide to go into that fight at the same time. And that, I mean, we're talking about the difference of like 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? But that's all it takes at this stage. If you just mistime that by just a hair, you offer a 1v1 opportunity, especially with a shotgun. And yeah, it was a little too close for comfort. But another team that I think is going to feel mighty comfortable after this game is got to be IWNRX, right? These guys were getting a whole bunch of eliminations.
It's not like they just did a good game right now, Hodrix, right? It's not like they're just feeling very comfortable and they were able to sweep the southern side. They swept BTR, swept Vampire. It's the fact that Vampire in particular needed a good game here. I would say this game, Hodrix, I don't know if you would agree, was their last opportunity to make it up there. And IWNRX just ruined it for them because the circle kept going to the east. So Vampire, I'd have to say it's 100% done in my eyes. I think that it's over and IWNRX were the one to end this venture for the side of Vampire.
I mean, with how they've played in the survival stage, I mean, it's totally understandable why you'd say that. I want to take a look at the overalls. I mean, because at the end of the day, it is Vampire, right? They have that pop-up opportunity, but I mean, we've never seen them perform this poorly, you know, especially at such a clutch moment like this. It is just unprecedented. Let's take a look here. Yeah, Falcon 20-point game. These guys are going to be feeling great.
Fantastic. I mean, they were playing it exactly how you want to do it in a Longwood warehouse kind of finish. You have 2 players playing the warehouse in the early to mid game stage, and you have 2 players playing Longwood, which is to scout the fields a little bit, see if the other team's crashing you, and you also have a sneaky little angle. And it also allows you to keep tabs on teams coming in from the east and southern side around the gas station, so you know what possible threats will be coming your way eventually later on down the line. But they then regroup in the warehouse, and for me, that's perfect. But I really want to highlight here, Hodrix, and I could have a whole segment on the way Incilio played it. They really highlighted so well the weaknesses of Falcons' play, because Falcons tried to recommit to the 2-2 split later on to get that angle behind Incilio, IWNRX, and FaZe to some extent, and they're like, oh wait, they're split. That means the warehouse is only defended by 2 players. We still have 4 cars. We send it in there and we might have a chance for the win. Sure, it did not work out because the clutch was not quite enough to get the win, but Incilio, for me, that was a great execution. And I hope we can see more of this from Incilio because that's one of their best macro plays I think we've seen from this squad.
Yeah, I think you can see Incilio just really playing with a sense of urgency right now. I think they have a great understanding of where they're at and what they need to do. I mean, we saw earlier on, you saw Team Queso trapped in the basement. By the way, never store your Queso in the basement, guys. You don't want to do that, right?
Okay,
but yeah,
good.
Exactly. Yeah, Major Pride, we're holding it down. And that's the thing is that Major Pride, we heard it from 7 earlier, right? They're not going to mind making it difficult for some of these squads to make it into that last chance. So since they're so high on the leaderboards, they can stay and just wait wait out a fight if they want to, which will destroy squads. So they were holding down Team Queso, but as soon as that fight, was just about to the tail end of it, Encilio came out from nowhere, were able to get a nice third party and finish him off.
Yeah, actually, I'm really happy you bring that up because there was not just that good late game strat from Encilio, there was also a good mid game strat, third partying that position that not only gives them a lot of eliminations, Hodrix, right, allows them to then facilitate that transition from Yellow's high ground down into the woods, making it over to Longwood to then start scouting. It was a great game overall as a whole. So yeah, Encilio, really good stuff. And as we look at the leaderboards, finally, it is not just Group Green on the first page, Hodgix. We've got DX able to push up there, pushing Team Liquid down in 8th position. So we got another group, finally. And DX are going to be currently leading the pack of our 16 teams playing today.
Let's let it go. Let's get it going. By the way, this just proved, guys, how well Group Green performed, right? That is so wild. These guys are still way on top. We only got one team pushing through and only a handful of matches left. So yeah, we definitely saw some of that Group Green dominance, and that's going to help them out a lot going into Last Chance, Max.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be a good little bit of a help for them going in those 2 matches this weekend. But here we go for the second page. FaZe able to jump up. Same for Falcons. We're going to have that happening the entire day, Hodgix. We're going to have this weird ping pong situation going above and below. Top 16 teams are really going to be stressed out of their mind until that very last game. And even then, they are going to be looking just a nail-biting match at the end, and hopefully they'll be in the top 16. But here we go, going down. Mir and Sejong go down in 17th. Damn, that's after how they played in their group, Jukes. I did not expect this kind of outcome in the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, MSJ
stage
was one of the teams that I, expected to finish top 6 in Last Chance with how they performed. And right now, it is just not looking good. I mean, let me look at, I do want to look at the bottom though, right? Because I want to keep an eye on Vampire. You said that they were done. I was thinking that too. What is it? 33 points is the cutoff right now. With how they played, yeah, I think that's it. I think that is nail in the coffin for them. Now, if you look historically, you look at this team, you look at the roster, Sertani, I love you, man. You got to have that pep talk here and now because it is still mathematically possible for them. It has to be a chicken dinner this game, though. Like, it has to be. If they do not do it here and now, then it is 100% nail in the coffin, at least in my eyes.
And just to repeat my point I made, I think in the first 2 days, right, is that they had that opportunity to come back in 3 matches in PMGC in Jakarta 2 years ago. They could do it again, but it's too late.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. This one's going to be in regards to IW and RX. Max, Hot Juice, you guys were wondering how comfortable they're feeling. They're feeling really comfortable. Right now, they said that they felt like they have already made it to the next stage. For the next couple of matches, they're not going to be doing what Major Pride is thinking about. They're actually going to be trying to improve on some mistakes that they're currently making and set themselves up for Last Chance. Also, shout out to everybody currently having those watch parties. Back to you guys.
Hey, shout out to all those folks watching this tournament right here, because this is a big momentous decision, but I like to hear that, Max, right? You know what? If you have you're high on the leaderboards, this is the perfect opportunity to prepare for the next stage, right?
Yeah, you got like the Major Pride approach, which is like, we hate everyone. We'll fight all of you if we see you from like a 200-meter distance. And like, oh no, we're just going to use it to improve. And because this is the best kind of scrims you could have for the last chance here, Hotchkiss. So might as well use that time, thoroughly to make sure you step up your game and do you have an even better chance to be in the top 6 in the last chance.
Well, that's something I definitely want to see from my WNRX, because let's be real, we should not have seen them here in the first place. Let's get going into another match of Arigale with John Allen and Blaine.
A lot of teams digging deep here as we head into the halfway match on the day. And we get closer to the end. Sosnovka Military Base, Nova Ripnoya up towards Georgiapol on the northwest side for match number 15.
Match number 15 coming right at you here. Obviously, this is going to be... Actually, I'm going to start it very differently here. IWNRX, what a wild time from them. I actually was very, very interested to see what IWNRX could do today, because we've said it multiple times, John. They are a team that either does really nothing or is able to look like the best team inside the lobby. And there's no in between at the moment. And that's the worrying thing. Though today, they have shown way more consistency, which is nice to see.
I mean, you take Group Green out of the mix, maybe that's helped them a little bit, some of the teams that they may have worried about a little bit more, but it definitely, I mean, you're going to have to face them in last chance if you get there as well, so you do need to find it there too. even if they get that consistency today, they've still got 2 more days to play when they make it into that. I say when, as if they already have. Looking pretty likely that they will, but if they are able to make it into that last chance stage, they need to keep that one going. It's good that they're looking to try and get a lot of those mistakes repaired, to get fixed up there, but it is always a question, and you've talked about it there as well, that consistency and keeping that one going. Hard north circle blank, it's just, no, we had our break, and now we're going back to the old grindstone.
Yeah, back over towards that northwest side. ASIA can be pretty pleased with this one over towards Severny, and they do need those points currently in 22nd. Major Pride looking to put some more points, and that's DXAV confirmed with 72 points total. And Cilio right on the border here, as is IWRX and BTR. Falcons off the back of their big win put themselves at 47 points, so a lot of teams already confirming their place towards that top 16. Ventura's going down. Very bad news for them, but good news for Team K, so picking themselves up 1 elimination right at the start of the game.
FaZe had a decent game last time around on Erangel. This time Team Case are able to pick up one of their players. Obviously, Team Case are not wanting to get locked into the basement this time around. It is not a favorable spot for them. They really didn't get the points they were looking for, but they are in that 16th place bubble, right? And at the moment, they are looking to be the team to just about hold on to it, trying to outlast Mir and Sejong, who today have been disappointing. Same can't be said, though, for DXAvia. They still maintain the top spot in the tables when it comes to those average points per game. They are looking to try and keep that one going. 101 is the current top score for D+ Kia. They're 72 right now, puts them 29 points behind, and they seem to have this lobby on lock.
Yeah, they're looking incredibly good at the moment. I'm not sure many teams can really pin up to their current performance at the moment. For some other teams, though, you know, there has been some ups and downs. Inco certainly a team that would like to get more done here. Now, a few America's teams on board. It's on your screen right now, but they look okay, but then when it comes to stage 3, stage 4, that's where they really crumble, John. And at 23 points, it's not looking great for them at the moment. I think there's not a lot of teams we can confirm completely out just yet. I think there's only really one, but I think going into match 4, that's when we can start to be like, this team is not going to make it.
Yeah, I think that's really where the cutoff will start to be. We're expecting the mid to high 50s to be that bubble, and achieving that will get very, very difficult with only 3 matches when you've got 20 in those 20-point brackets, especially when you haven't been on form. Getting that will start to get away from you. Teams looking to develop themselves that platform to play for the last 3. I mean, the Vampires, they have got a Zaki position right now, and the circle is super north, so maybe they can find a lot of the teams in Georgia Pole, take a fight with ASIA, get 506 points on this single match and come back into it. But you're right, it's very much done and dusted for the most part on Vampires front.
And we salute them, because they are a very well-renowned team, but here in the survival stage, it has just not panned out at all. I'm sure they'll bounce back. I mean, they're a strong team. They perform well inside of their respective PMSLs. They've performed fairly well last year, but this year has been a real downturn in performance. And to be honest with you, it's somewhat to be expected. This team has hit some of the greatest heights of all time as Vampires. They had a huge comeback in PMGC last year, but this is not, I'm trying not to sound harsh, but I think they have lost their drive. I really do believe that. And I think they need to get it back. I honestly, I think this is a perfect time for that to happen. Not even getting through the PMGC Grand Finals, because the drop-off hasn't been immediate. It has been a slow decline of gameplay from Vampires. But I think that the funny thing is they don't need to change that roster. That roster is unbelievably good. But I think those players have just lost their motivation. And it's a similar story to Zuxi in the past, where, you know, he went away for a while. He had like his little bit of an exodus from PUBG Mobile, still playing in it, albeit at smaller leagues. we had to get that drive back, and that's what happens to players who have had such massive success year after year, especially in PMWC. I think they just need to get that motivation back, and I think that going out here in survival stage might be a good thing for them.
Yeah, I know they're called the vampires, but you definitely don't want them to be the Walking Dead, right? It's really not ideal when they come into this one and perform as shells of their former glory, but they'll go for a crash here. This is against ASI8. Let's see if they can pack out those points on towards one of their very, very, very last chances, but Schweppes goes down first. A response is spotted there. The Vampires do have an answer to it. Schweppes may be resable, depending on this nade from the high ground from ASI8. Uzum not quite in the right position to go for that full flush. Valak with the nade cooking. Tony with one of his own. Up into the wall. Nade bounces in, but doesn't connect. That one goes long through the corridor. Gets Tony low, but doesn't get him out. Schweppes is back to his feet. ASI8 now on their route out of Saverny. Coming into conflict with the Vampires. Tony K up onto the rooftops, but a nade from IQ hits high. And in a perfect position to get that knock. He's not really going to be resable in short order that they need to get back into the fight. And Schweppes next. Balak putting the lead across the door frame. Will be able to blast Vampire back once more. IQ spotted, but a 1-for-1 trade. It's not good for the Vampires. Stepping in, trying to keep them in, and Stone does go the distance. Nobody there to third party just yet. Mirren Sejong may be able to get there, but with 3, the Vampires finally find something.
A good success. They lose a play off the back of it, but yeah, this is sort of that final hurrah coming through from the Vampires. Major Pride on your screens, making it in through that southeast side, past Inco. I don't know if they'll give up on the hovercraft. It's a nice vehicle to have in terms of cover. It's just slow, that's all. And not being close to the center here, it might be one of those vehicles you just ditch, leave behind. We're almost into stage 2 now. 8 minutes into this one. Only a little bit of action so far between Vampires and ASI8. A lot of teams confirming over towards that northern portion of the map. You got Vampires all the way on the north side of shooting range. You got Mirren Sejong sat around those forested areas to the south.
On the south side of those shooting hills. I mean, Team Queso looking to push up towards it as well, with the circle going up north. Pushes teams further in there. Mirren Sejong, they also a team right on that bubble, need those points to come on through, and this is the perfect circle to do it. If they can't hold it here, I'm putting them in the bottom 8 here, Blank. I don't think they're going to be able to make it if they can't do it here on this match, on this circle. With the position that they hold, they have control over the Georgia Bridge crossings. They've got control to access the west side. The teams on the east are going to block each other from getting too close to them, but
ผมไม่ค่อยสบายให้หมดนั่งดูแข่งครับผม
points, getting some elims here is so important.
อันนี้เริ่มแมปใหม่แล้วใช่แมปที่3แล้ว
Like in a big way at this point in time.
แต่แวมไพร์ได้ไป4นะ
A fair few squads of ours
แวมไพร์ได้4แต้มอยู่ครับเหลือ3ก็โอเคครับ
Looking over on the map, at the moment, Loops is most likely going to be having a decent game from the southwest
แต่ทางด้านฝั่งเฟสแคนนี่คือยัง0แต้มนะหมายถึงว่าในแมปนี้
quite breaking into that top 16 yet. Team
โดนเสียไป1ด้วย
who are on the
เฟสแคนก็เข้าวงแล้วก็เล่นระวังเอาครับ
holding out versus BTR and Zeus.
เช็คข้อความ Discord พี่ครับได้ครับ
I think that was Zeus taking shots over the north side, getting a knock over towards Mirren Sejong. Mirren Sejong looked like they wanted to regroup, but they sent Final close to the river, and it's just going to get flushed away. An unnecessary flex back. If Mirren Sejong wanted to regroup, they should have committed. Do not just randomly go back over to that bridge side. Zeus go across, and losing that post, and that might be enough for me to just count them out right here.
Yeah, for Mirren Sejong, they've lost a player almost consistently in the first 10 minutes of every single game. They did hold that 2-2 split, but it was pretty handedly taken over by Zeus there before they went to go for that regroup, now playing as 3. Not a terrible position to be in for Mirren Sejong going forward, but they are going to be assaulted by FaZe in the coming future, who have lost a player themselves. So it will be 3v3, so not entirely impossible to work with.
Meanwhile, over in the center, the Circle Falcons have an outpost A lot of control from the east edge. Loops looking to try and leave from the suburbs of Severny up into the hillsides near Tianba, who've got that ridge out to the west of Severny. Xavier in a 2-2 split right now as well. Lamborghini repositioning the vehicle. I do kind of want Getso Roy to try and crash on this one, and I'll tell you for why, because then we'd see Porsche versus Lamborghini blank, and that is very fun.
Porsche versus Lamborghini, you say? Let's see which one's the fastest one. I know that they're copying nothing from Jaguar either, so it would be a fun and creative fight, to say the least.
Yeah, breaking the mold, redefining what trends are, you know? That's what they're looking to do. That's a... I wonder what the crossover is on understanding that joke and PUBG Mobile viewers, but either way, we'll be going further into this one on BTR's POV as they try and approach from the western side. They had a great game earlier on the south side of Sandhawk to put themselves up to 49 points. They want to try and stretch out towards that 60-point barrier to see themselves safer, but they got FaZe and they got Zeus in the way.
Gets so right. On our screens, rotating.
แต่เมื่อกี้ลอยโดนเราสอยไปนะเกมเมื่อกี้
I'm kind of counting out at this
ส
point.
วัสดีครับทุกคนผมมาแล้ว ผมไปมาๆนิดนึงครับผมไม่ค่อยสบายไม่สบายหนักมาก
But I don't see their point scoring margins really going above and beyond what's required to get into the top 16. There is some signs of life there, but just not enough that we're willing to
กินไก่ให้ชื่นใจหน่อยเว้ย
give them that chance at the top 16 in our minds, at least in our imaginary palaces.
I mean, there's always a chance. There always is.
แต่เสียดายเราเสีย1คนนะทางด้านฝั่งทีมแวมไพร์แต่เราได้มา4แต้มเราเก็บ1สควอตไป
And the maths doesn't bear
คือ
it
AS
out.
IS น่ะ
Incilio take a knock.
ได้เรา1ใช่ไหมแล้วเราก็ซัด AS IS ไป
Where's that?
4
That's northeast side as they try and move off of that Severny ridgeline. They do lose. I think that's the player on their front angle.
เหนื่อยเลยพี่ชายจริงผมเวียนหัวมากตอนนี้ผมร้อนๆหนาวๆไม่รู้ว่าจะได้ไปโรงพยาบาลหรือเปล่าเนี่ยเดี๋ยวต้องพากอีกเกมอีกจักรวาลหนึ่งอีกตอนช่วง2 ทุ่ม
Only 2 teams around these borders. The Vampires may chime in at some point. BTR could crash.
ตอนแรกมองไว้ว่าจะพักเบรกคู่ชิงที่3แล้วมาคู่ชิง5 ทุ่มเลย
Yeah, it's kind of undecided, and that's because there are so many teams already in here, so many teams already battling for position. Usually, have our 2 teams who already have significant spot circle, and other squads are going to be held quite massively. Here, a lot of squads have been able to make their way in. I think a fair few of our teams here are now looking for more placements, which is why they're going for less aggressive holes, because they know a single point will now count for their future in this tournament. Tiamba taking some shots themselves over towards Getso Roy. They find an initial knock, but that's about it. But similarly, they are taking bullets from along the way. That's Incilio taking shots.
ต้องฉีดยากันหนักจริงครับเสร็จแล้วพักผ่อนไหมพี่ผมว่าจะพักคู่ชิงที่3แล้วพักรอบชิง5 ทุ่มดีไหมผมไม่รู้ว่าคนดูจะเป็นยังไง
They will spot it out now. The circle
อันนี้
goes
กิ
a
น
little
ยา
bit
แล้ว
northeast,
ก็
gives
ดี
DXAV's
ขึ้นนิดหน่อย
position some strength,
ก็ยังเวียน
gives
หัวอยู่
Loops a nice chunk of it as well, but that's under a lot of pressure from IWNRX on the east side. The Falcons as well from the southeast edge can look to stretch on in. BTR maybe looking to run down Marin Sejong.
Yeah, possibly. I think with BTR again, one more game, they're done.
แล้วคู่ชิงก็ได้นอนสักประมาณเท่าไหร่
strong match
3 4 5
5
ได้นอน3 ชั่วโมง
in towards that top 16, currently in 13th place.
เพราะคู่ชิงมันเริ่ม5 ทุ่มถูกไหม
I personally don't see BTR dropping out.
เสียดายว่าวันนี้น่าจะมีพลังภาคเฟสแคนด้วยโอ้ทีมมันเองครับดีเซเวียกับเรื่องตามจนเคโซ่ครับหมดดงดีเซเวียดีซิชั่นนี้เหนื่อยเหมือนกันอุ้ยเคโซ่ก็เจ็บหนักครับถ้าเนตมาอีกรอบก็หวานเจี๊ยบยังฮะ ปาปี้บอลโลนะน่าจะไม่รอดฮะพอโกดกับซัดมาแบบนี้ครับขอโกดกับซัดทางด้านของ ICC ไปนี่เบต้ให้ผมจัดไปเฟสแคนมาอารวาสแล้วตอนนี้เฟสแคนโดนยิงกดว่ะเกือบแตกครับดึงเลือดก่อนนะเฟสแคนยัดบ้านแล้วตอนนี้เหมือนการฝั่งตัวของนูซี่ผมไปปะทะกับตี้ครับอินซิลิโอฮะเฟสแคนได้เก็บ2แล้วเนี่ยและเฟสแคนล้มไป1ครับมีล่าผมโดนลัมโบกินีโอ้โหมีล่าโดนซ้ำมาจากเกมมาฮะจังหวะการชาร์จขึ้นบ้านผมดีเซเบียเหลืออยู่คนเดียวส่วนด้านของฝั่งเฟสแคนเหลือ2ครับเอาแล้วโฉบมาเหยียบครับด้วยรถไดบายก็ตอนนี้เบก้าก็ล่วงครับโดนนั่นฝั่งตัวของจวนโชยิงเจาะเข้าต่อฮะทางฝั่งตัวของ Evo Station นะผมเอาเกมไปเรียบร้อยหมดทีมครับทางด้านทีม MP ตัดได้สวยครับฝั่งทีมอินโก้จากอเมริกาอุ้ยขอบคุณณรัพพลด้วยนะครับเมมเบอร์มาครับซูเปอร์แชทมาครับขอบคุณครับคุณณรัพพล40 บาทซูเปอร์แตงครับของครับ W อาจจะ W เบาหน่อยครับเพราะปวดหัวมากอะ
And they will send bullets your way as soon as you step out.
อยากทิ้งก็ทิ้งเลยพี่เดี๋ยวต้องดึงวัดปาร์ตี้นี้ถึง2 ทุ่มงานลูกค้าผมร่วมเชียร์เฟสแคนแล้วก็ฝั่งแวมไพร์
each individual elimination point means to you. With so many teams boarding around 30 points, 20 points, every single one of them would have wanted to get involved with this one. ASIA do go down as to Team Queso, but 5 points on the game. It's not horrendous. They can work with that.
In the meantime, BTR working that northwest edge, spotting.
มันได้แต่มันเวียนหัวไว้ตอนนี้
That is a condensed position though, and difficult to confirm that yet.
เวียนหัวหนักเลยแล้วร้อนหนาวด้วยนะ
Team seem to have retreated somewhat. That was a veritable feeding frenzy. The piranhas over here in match 15, making short work of the teams on the inside. And those bones are clean, picked dry by every player around them. North shift pushes FaZe and DXavia's remnants up towards that north edge. Gets a Roy loops in good spots.
Gets a Roy off towards the west side. Holding on, loops as well. Like you say, they do need a big game off the back of this. BTR sending on in. Hansel drops out the vehicle as it takes a bit of a tumble. It's taking quite a lot of damage from the blue here in stage 5. BTR playing it much more cautiously than any of our other squads. A nasty shot onto the back wheel. Wheel spinning out. We'll now need to go for a reverse down the hill. And that's Vampires on the northern edge.
Nade over to Onzens. As Lamborghini looks to extract, you've still got Vitali, who is flexing out for Inco from their south position, and Juancho actually as well. But you just can't move up to it. Everybody's got sightlines. Vampire spotted. And it's just Tony K to remain. They had an early fight to contend with. They rocked up the ASIA.
โอ้โหโดนระเบิดเนตไปครับออนเซนฮะ
Now they're down to 1 yet again. Can they get everyone back up? The smokes were there. They took out the vehicles.
นี่มันพิษร้ายทำลายเราจริงๆนะ
But Getsaroy know their
อันดับก็ดีอยู่แล้วมาทำลายเราได้ไง
Getsaroy's time is consumed.
Getsaroy holding on to their position at the moment. Mirren Sejong as well as BTR would like to take over. Very high nades here sent in from Inco, but I'm not exactly sure at what.
โดนจีบ้านครับ
Each individual was towards the
Lamborghini นี่คือคนเดียวนะและประเด็นคือเฟสแคนออกไม่ได้นะครับมีไกลๆต่ออยู่ครับเอาเหรอ
But the smoke cover is starting to fade and has to get back into the other building there. I mean, that's
there's
why,
a more
as you know,
again,
there's a third party on the south edge, and Inco going to read into this. They think there's fighting still going on. Mormon blasts the door if it's hinges. Inco still not quite fully committing to this push. Vitali into the side house building. There's a nade over towards FaZe. Lamborghini back up to the top floor. He's got to wait this one out just that little bit longer. They still got a minute until the blue zone touches, and they are right on the edge. A vehicle delivery is pretty good as well for Lamborghini.
แต่ไงก็ถึงบ้านไหมมันมีอินโก้มาตีบ้านเราด้วยนะได้ไกลก็คือเทียนบาร์เอาฮันซิลครับล่วงไปแล้วโดนซ้ำมาจากเกมครับ อูริเอล
There's been a massive amount of fighting over towards
เฮ้ยอย่ามาหาตีบ้านเฟสแคนเฮ้ย
Everyone's getting
โอ้
involved.
โห ไม่ปาณีเลยฮะ ถ้าบ้านบึ้มได้ก็คงบึ้มไปแล้วเนี่ย
Finding an immediate pickup over towards Shan quite quickly. Zeus holding their own on that southwest. This is such a hot spot inside the circle right now, and I think there's only going to be more action pouring on through.
Tiamba have taken 2 knocks in the background against Falcons, against one of them, but Inco lose 2 on the approach to FaZe. The duo on the inside, cutting them apart. And now it's just inactive left for Inco as he tries to keep a position further forwards. By the way, Lamborghini got away from this. He's in the middle of the circle, dead central, and on a loot crate. So a level 3 refresh for him. The guy's a warrior, and they'll keep on fighting. FaZe now on their breakout, inactive. Behind the tree, doesn't have the angles. Tiamba and Falcons both preoccupied with each other, and that's going to allow FaZe to extract here. But inactive with a nade over the top, launches one to the backlines. Will not find the flush, but Onsens does go down to it. In the meantime, Mormon hits the deck, tries to stay alive.
Tiamba out versus Falcons.
เทียนสปาโอ้ออนเซนโดนซ้ำมาจากเกมฮะลาป้าจัดการนั้นจูเคน็อกดาวน์ผมลาฟินย่าบอกนั้นน็อกนั้นTN ไปฮะกล้าบอกเป็นการน็อกสตาร์เลสครับผมเอาบวกกันเองครับเซาท์อีสเอเชียเลเจียนโอ้ลาป้าครับอยู่ต่อหน้ามีพี่ก้าโดนยิงจีขาไปครับเรียบร้อยฮะ
BTR now down to 2 players, but securing themselves a few eliminations, up to 3, sitting themselves nicely at 52 points overall.
Teams are starting to drop out now. You've got MSJ trying to move on in. Mir and Sejong, they've been on 3 players for a while, have tucked their head down.
พี่แบงค์อยากพูดตรงๆเป็นห่วงไม่อยากเห็นสตรีมเมอร์น็อกรักษาภาพแล้วโอ้ขอบคุณครับผม
From the western side, BTR an opener sent their way.
นี่สบายเหมือนพี่ชายติดผ่านสตรีมอ่ะ
Zuxi, his position's known. A nade gonna be
อีก
sent
กี่โดดครับเนี่ยอีก3โดดครับ
does a lot of damage.
อันนี้โดดที่3เนี่ยแต่ว่าโดดหน้าก็น่าจะครบเวลาพอดีครับ
BTR pushed aside.
2 ทุ่มเลย
Mir and Sejong mount a comeback.
Very nice stuff from Mir and Sejong. Currently sat at 38 points.
แต่นั้นแวมไพร์ได้มา5 แต้มนะเหลืออยู่3 คนครับเก็บ1สควอตไปอะมอแมนเหลือคนเดียวเมื่อวานนี้มอแมนนี่โดนคนแรกตลอดเลยสวยจัดเพราะว่ามอแมนเป็นคนเล่นแยกหาข่าวการมูฟอะไรไปเจอเขาดักเนี่ยสวยมอแมนเอาแต้มรัวๆได้จากอีสมาเฟสแคน5 แต้มฮะอุ้ยเฟสแคนเอาเรื่องนะโดนเนตโดนย้ำเนตเรียบร้อยออกจากเกมมาฮะดากินครับผมฮะจัดการไปครับฟอลคอนแอคชั่นก็ยิงโกลเซเดนดากินอยู่ครับเนตมาดับเบิลเนตฮะอุ้ยเกือบโดนฮะเจอดับเบิลเนตนี่น็อกดาวน์ได้ผมตกใต้เท้าวางสวยครับโอ้โหเนตกลางตัวสวยจัดครับแอคชั่นเนตแบบแม่นแบบจับวางฮะก็เรียบร้อยครับแอคชั่นครับจัดการเอเลนเซเว่นมาเอเลนไม่มีโอกาสได้แปลงร่างครับเอ้ยฟอลคอน
It is very surprising
ฟอลคอนแอคชั่นเหลือหนึ่งครับแต่ Lamborghini ดีเซอร์เวียยังรอดอยู่ได้เฉยก็น่าเป็นงูเดี๋ยวตอนนี้โอ้แวมไพร์ไปโดนระเบิดของโอ้โหระเบิดของลูปครับโทนี่เคครับดึงกันได้หรือเปล่าเนี่ยลูปอย่าตีแวมไพร์เลยโอ้โหปานีแวมไพร์ด้วยลูปโอ้โหแล้วแวมไพร์จะน็อกอีก1 คนฮะสวยจัดลาฟินย่าครับตีเข้าไปแล้วเนตรัวๆครับโอ้โหสวยแล้วแวมไพร์ระเบิดลงรัวๆฮะระเบิดมาเป็นหาฝนเลยตอนนี้เฮ้ยปานีกันด้วยเว้ยแลมโบกินี่ก็ยิงกดหัวแวมไพร์นะเอาจริงแล้วลาฟินย่านะเห็นจุดแล้วครับง้างเนตรอเลยฮะแล้วโผล่มาซัดแวมไพร์ซัดสวนไปครับตรงนี้นิวครับล่วงฮะเจอนูซี่ครับแวมไพร์เหลืออยู่2 คนแล้วเจาะมาสวยครับสโตนจัดการลาฟินย่าครับแต่แลมโบกินี่เนี่ยมันยิงกดหัวเราอยู่เดี๋ยวเราออกไม่ได้ครับยกเว้นว่าต้องชนะทั้งลูปครับลูปตอนนี้ต้องดึงกัน2 คนนะไกลๆก็มี NRX อยู่ครับโอ้กลับไปตี NRX เหรอฮะทางด้านฝั่งนีโฮนินโอ้โหนินโฮครับล่วงไหมครับระเบิดยัดหน้าต่อแบบนี้ดีนะแต่แวมไพร์ล่วงอีก1เหมือนกันนะต้องดึงกันก่อนนะครับแต่ Lamborghini อยู่คนเดียวนี่หวานเจี๊ยบเลยนะ
The man's got shrapnel-proof armor on today.
ดึงกันได้ครับนูซี่สโตนเอาหน่อยฮะ
Closest to the middle and stopping
MSJ นี่คือ3คนครับข้างๆมันเป็นลูปครับแวมไพร์ครับแวมไพร์อ้าวโดนครับทางด้านฝั่งเคนก็บอกว่าตีจากด้านข้างครับลูประเบิดขอคิวสตีลไว้สักหน่อยเนี่ยมาหาตัดกันนะโดนตัดคืนเป็นไงบ้างล่ะใช่ครับแวมไพร์มา6แล้วครับแวมไพร์ขอกินไก่หน่อยครับเพื่อนแวมไพร์ช่วยลูกด้วยเน็ตยัดเข้าไปลาฟินยามาหางูเหมือนกันลาฟินยาครับดึงน้ำก่อนแล้วนี้ยาน้ำพันเดชครับแล้วแวมไพร์ซัดเดินกินไปลัมโบกินี่อย่าแจมครับ MSJ ก็แจมอีกโอ้โหเฮ้ยโอ้ไม่เอาแบบนี้ไม่ชอบโดนโอบออกไม่ได้ด้วยครับแวมไพร์ยกเว้นว่าตีลาฟินยานี่ผมว่าได้เล่นอยู่ตามกำแพงอะไรเงี้ยออกยากอย่างเจอ NRX ฟาลคอนนี่โหโพซิชันดีจัดเลยฟาลคอนนะแอคชั่นคนเดียวก็เสียวได้ครับงัดทางด้านฝั่งเคนไปครับแล้วระเบิดสวยครับโอ้สเวนครับล่วงฮะเจอนั่นสโตนครับแต่นูซี่ออกไปนูซี่โดดแอคชั่นยาโอ้โหแอคชั่นแม่งโหดจัดแอคชั่นมันเอาจัดดูโพซิชันมันยิงฟรีไม่รู้จะฟรียังไงแล้วครับแอคชั่นครับฟาลคอนโอ้แวมไพร์ได้7 แต้มครับ
And this is a game that should see Falcons safe. Honestly, off the back of this, but he picked up
อยู่บนหัวทุกทีมเลยฮะเรียบร้อยครับแอคชั่นโดนลาฟินยาสวนมาแตกครับลาฟินยานี่ก็เจอวงสเตจ8เข้าไปแรงอยู่นะอ้าวซีวูก็ออกจากเกมไปเหมือนกันนะตอนนี้ผมว่า MSJ นี่คือได้เปรียบแล้วเกาหลีครับสบายครับ MSJ ขึงเลยฮะซัดครับผมข้างๆใส่นั่นฝั่งแลมโบครับแลมโบกินี่ฮะ
Lamborghini, I mean, the fact that he's still alive is crazy. He's been on this loot crate for a long time. The nade not quite connecting, a little bit too long to pinpoint.
ต้องระเบิดแบบลงแล้วก็ระเบิดพอดีฮะกะยากอยู่เหมือนกันนะทางมันราบเรียบไปครับอุ้ยแอร์ดรอปช่วยบังนิดนึงเรียบร้อยครับเลยปกติฮะเจอด้านฝั่งอูเลียวครับเหลือแค่ลอฟินยาคนเดียวน่าจะต้องมอบเลยไม่ก็เอาจะคัดได้แบบลาฟินยาจะคัดได้หรอฮะวงแรงเบิ้มฮะเขาบีบเลยครับแล้วลาฟินยาก็น่าจะตายวงครับเรียบร้อยไม่ให้แต้มฮะมาครับทางด้านฝั่ง MSJ ครับได้แต้มนี้มา
One single point can mean the difference between 17th and
เอาเรื่องครับเอาเรื่องได้ดูอีก1โดดครับคนดูโอ้เดี๋ยวผมไปล้างหน้าอีกรอบหนึ่งก่อนผมเวียนหัวจัดเลยว่ะตอนนี้แวมไพร์มาดีครับแต่เสียดายทางด้านฝั่งเฟสแคนน่าจะดึงแต้มได้แบบเกาะกลุ่มอันดับที่16หน่อยฮะทีมหลูมเนี่ยเครียดจัดแล้วนี่นิสัยไม่ดีมาหาตีแวมไพร์ก่อนเนี่ยก็โดนนั้น NRX ต่อเดี๋ยวมาฮะ
Look, can we talk about Action's performance in that last match? Goodness gracious.
Holy. This guy was like, I'm alone, but I am the entire team. His nades on to Zeus to clear Zeus were already incredible through the smoke. He had like good third-person perspective above the smoke and got the intel. Pinpoint accurate nades. Even Doc was like, man, that was pretty good. But looking even after that, he was just keeping the hope alive for his team to just secure a spot in top 16. Looking back on this game, Hot Jukes, at the end of today, we might be... I said today really weirdly. This might be the game we look back on for the side of Falcons. Like, that was the game that qualified them in top 16 because they got enough points. Thanks to Action. He got the placement points, got them in top 5, and got so many eliminations off the back of his insane M4 sprays, by the way. This guy was an absolute killer this match. And yeah, Action, you know what? We look a lot at top a lot of the time, but Action put on the clinic this game. GG's.
Hey, clutched it up big time. Speaking of clutch, you gotta talk about Mirror Sejong. This performance, that could have done it just like that. They needed a chicken dinner so bad because, I mean, this is a team that we were just so shocked by seeing such a lackluster performance here in the survival stage compared to how they did in the group stage. They were so close to making it. Unfortunately, they didn't. But then all of a sudden, they the map. But with this chicken dinner here, they should be feeling pretty rock solid.
Yeah, pretty rock solid here. And it's very cool too because they go crash site very early, and we know that Mir and Sejong, from how they were playing back in the group stage Hot Jukes, they were very center focused team. They love playing these central splits, regrouping, playing the strongest position they had available at the time, and then winning the game off the back of that with a bunch of elims. Here, they were forced to play Ed and actually were very successful in this game. Of course, the terrain kind of was favoring them quite a bit, but this is a good game to see them win on an Edge kind of playstyle. Though, I do want to highlight something interesting. On the first day of Mir and Sejong, the team that was playing was Seiwoo, Jaesuk, Hoxie, and Final. Unless one of those players renamed, which I don't think is the case, Uriel is playing. So I wonder if they're like, okay, day one was not quite what we expected. We're going to make a player play that I don't recall him seeing him play in the group stage 2. So Uriel on the board and actually doing good on the first game with the win. So hey, that could be a big change that allows them to push up in top 16.
Ooh, I know my boy 7WG's always listening, man. If you're listening right now, which I know you are, you can get us that answer. That would be really nice to figure out here because, man, MSJ, to clutch up a chicken dinner right here, especially with a roster swap this late in the game, is pretty dang wild. One thing I got to talk about, though, and we have to, right? Start of the match. We see a Northern Circle, okay? There's two teams in particular that we're looking at, right? And you know which ones I'm talking about, right, Mac?
I8 Vampire. You're looking at I8 Vampire? Yeah, that was the clash at the bottom of the rankings. And a very important one too, but the clutch is like crazy. And I saw this phase 1, phase 2 circle. Hodrick's looking. This is a golden opportunity for IA, the Pakistani team, to pop off and maybe crawl their way back up in top 16. And Vampire be like, nope, screw you guys. We're going to crash you. We're going to ruin your day and your chance to continue this year's PMGC. Because they're already, like, we said it, Vampire pretty much out. They got nothing to really lose at this point. And they're just sending it. And IA were not ready for clash that early in that position. And that completely caught them off guard.
I just don't get that push in general. I mean, they both had the North to themselves. They could have decided to share it and make sure that they were able to kind of like work together to win this game. But instead, you know, no, Vampire wants to battle it out. They want to dominate it. Yeah, look, 9 points, but that's not enough. Let's be real. 9 is not even close to going to be. The last couple matches that we're going to see here are going to be so insane. Vampire would literally need to win back-to-back to stand a chance, and I just don't see it happening with how desperate this lobby is.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Like, we still need to see a win, and we said we need to see a win on the first half of the day, Hodrix. I think we were kind of in agreement with that, and we have not seen that win, so it's looking kind of dire. And of course, IA, that 1 point, it's a participation prize, and unfortunately, participation prizes will not take you too far in PMGC, though. Yeah, Zeus 2, 3 points on this game. I like their approach to the lobby here this match on the southern side, trying to use that high ground to their advantage and getting intel on that third party of DX versus FaZe versus Inco. That was good, but unfortunately, every team here is so strong, Hot in this lobby. Even the teams that are struggling to make it in top 16 are that good that Zeus just crumbled apart the moment they were encountering teams.
Yeah, you know what? That's the tough part about this lobby. And the reason why I'm being so skeptical, guys, not like I'm not a believer in Vampire and these teams at the bottom, but I mean, what are you going to do when you have like names like D Xavier, Major Pride popping off? Like Team Kessel had a solid match, right? Not too long ago. And then they go into this one with a good solid position. They're starting to put some pressure onto Major Pride, but then D Xavier just rolls up behind them. You know, I mean, what do you do when you got sandwiched between two squads like that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You do nothing at that point.
You just cry. Yeah, it's over. Yeah. I mean, that sucks for Team Kessel because, you know, they definitely want to have that better performance. But I mean, like I said, nothing you could do. So if you're Vampire and you need these points desperately, if you get caught in a situation like that, right, you're done as well. There's like literally nothing you can do. Let's take a look at the second page though, because that's where our eyes are going to be locked on right now. And let's see what the new cutoff is. It's going to be 42 points, and Mir and Sejong push their way up to 15th place with 51.
I kept telling you, Hodges, before today, like, we're going to have this weird ping pong situation up and down, above and below the 16th position mark to make it into the last chance. It's going to be down to the wire. It's going to be down to the last game. We still have 3 matches to go, and we're going to keep having this ping pong situation happening. Game in, game out every single time. But FaZe, in particular, these guys need to be careful, man, because they are getting involved in so many fights, and it's getting so damn risky for them that right now, literally, one bad game, it could be a GG, see you later, guys. See you in 2025, and it will be the end of the road, though. Going on the lower page here, the bottom 8 you can see after that game, Hotchicks Loops, one of their players just like, their head in their hands, just like, oh my god, that was just not enough points. And yeah, as of right now, they're still in 17th position. We still need to see a win from some of these bottom teams. And yet, over 9 games, none of the bottom 8 teams have gotten himself a single chicken dinner. That needs to change right now.
Yeah, and man, let's be real. For Vampire, they need 3 chicken dinners if they want to stand a chance. So short of an absolute miracle, these guys, it's over. Nail in the coffin. You know, I8 are in big trouble. I mean, look at the drop off in points between 18th and 19th. That is a very, very large drop off, considering that we only have 3 matches left here, Max.
Yep, not a lot of time, unfortunately, for these teams to make it work out. And Inco with only 1 placement point, I realized. 26
Dude,
we need to see placement points, Inco. We need to see you reach the late game, Inco. What's going on?
That is so wild. Oh, man. You know, 26 eliminations. But yeah, 1 placement point's definitely not going to be able to do it here. Guys, this is getting really, really crazy. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go nowhere.
As voted by our viewers, we have none other than Bigatron. Suxy next to me. You guys started off hot, man. At the beginning of the day, you guys were talking about how you were going to continue to play your game. First game in, you end up getting the win. What are the expectations for the next 3 matches?
Oke, kita udah nampak di awal-awal permainan kalian main dengan sangat-sangat bagus. Menurut kamu sendiri, apakah ekspektasi kamu buat 3 game terakhir ini?
Ekspektasi aku sendiri yang pasti ya di setiap gamenya itu kita main yang bagus aja dan maksimalin poin game by game aja dan ya semoga bisa lolos ke last chance.
Alright, so basically my expectation for the last 3 games is basically trying to give our best and we try to maximize our point game by game and yeah, hopefully we can qualify to last chance.
Well, you said that earlier. So far, it's been working out. I hope it continues to work out as well. Now, I want to rewind a little bit to this last match that just happened. It seems like you guys were controlling the area pretty well, especially towards the outer, and then something happened on the rotation. I want you to walk me through it. What went wrong in this last match?
Oke, jadi di match terakhir tadi kalian awal-awal udah bagus lah mainnya rapi dan segala macam, tetapi kalian berada di situasi yang sangat sukar, yaitu ketika bertemu dengan G-Roy dan juga diterpati sama MSJ. Bisa cerita nggak apa yang terjadi di match itu dan apa yang salah di match itu?
Yang terjadi di tim kita itu sebenarnya nggak banyak, cuman satu hal yang sangat fatal, ya itu misdecision aja sih. Jadi kayak keputusan belum dibuat, itu aja sih.
So basically on the last match, I think the only reason that we lose that fight is because of missed decision. I think my team haven't ready yet, and yeah, the decision has been made. So yeah, that's one of the things that make it harder for us.
They definitely did. Thank you so much, Suksma. I believe that's how you say thank you in Bali. Thank you, brother. Wish you the best. Back to you guys.
Oh, Jukes, I thought you were gonna. No, you back, baby!
มาครับ
No.
นี่โดยสุดท้ายที่เราจะได้รับชมกัน
Welcome back, everyone. It's looking a little bit better on the desk now that I'm here, of course.
พักครึ่งใน3แมปแรกมันจะนานหน่อยนะฮะ
My power's back as well, so I'm happy to be here, and also happy to be able to tune into these last 3 matches, man. We already had some teams making their moves here, as you did get to hear from Zuxi. They're just trying to focus on these next 3 matches and make their fans proud, and obviously with their victory over on Sandhawk, that might have been enough to get them through into the last chance picking up tomorrow. But gentlemen, before we can hop into that, even I'm not even gonna tempt fate here. I'm not even gonna try to brag about my Infinix G220 Pro that I have on my desk right next to me, because I don't want the power to go out yet again. But Max, you're more than welcome to. Did you put someone new?
I summoned Jason.
Aha!
I was hoping for Jason to come back, and it's not focusing. My camera's not being nice to me.
You can only have one Jason focused on camera at a time.
There we go.
Ooh.
We got him back.
Yeah, and obviously check it out, 120 FPS, 144 hertz, AMOLED screen. Hotjukes, thank you so much for covering for me. But I'm back now. It's my turn to take over, and your turn to start talking about these teams. As we take a look at our teams to focus, you do have Loops, Tiamba, and Team Queso. Hit me with those reasons why.
Oh, baby. I mean, at this point, these are the teams in the big hot seat right now. I mean, Team Queso really are desperate for some points, and they're getting stuck between 2 of the top teams in the lobby in the last match. That's going to hurt their overall morale. Tiamba, we talked about Tiamba and their ability to kind of like get warmed up to the lobby and start playing in the later parts of this tournament, but like at this point, it's just not looking good. It's just not looking good for them. They need a chicken dinner, and it's going to only get harder from here on out.
Yeah, that's the reason I went with my 3 teams as well, kind of focusing down towards the bottom of the leaderboard of teams who have to make moves with only 3 matches left to go. But Max, I did see something on your side that kind of confused me and your teams to focus. Xavier.
Yeah.
Why are you focusing on a team that's already going to be qualified?
So no, because we're all focusing on like the bottom of the leaderboards, which of course is important, is like the big focal point for today. But actually, Xavier are about 22, 23 points, depending on the tiebreaker, away from first place, and I think that would be a really big surprise for them. So just something to keep in mind that DX.
อันนี้ก็รีแคปครับผมใน3แมตช์ที่ผ่านมา
And that would be.
You know what, production Roman, let's change my teams to focus. I'm putting D+ in here because why not? They're not playing first place at the moment. No, obviously, yeah. I mean, that would be a big morale boost going into last chance tomorrow, because it is only the top 16 teams here. But from there, top 6, man. I mean, if you're looking currently at what our top 6 is at the moment, are you guys satisfied with the teams that are currently there? I mean, we have obviously Group Green, right? So it's kind of hard to really dive into it with 2 other groups still battling. But you have D+, Regnum Karya, 77, Boeing, Stalwart, and D Xavier. Would you guys be satisfied with those 6 teams being the teams to go through, or do you think there's others that deserve to rise up here and be in there?
I mean, I wouldn't mind it personally. I mean, these are some solid names for sure. I mean, but at the same time, you got Team Liquid right there, which is another squad I believe in big time. 4MV, Doc popping off if you can stay with the squad. And then, finally we're seeing, Falcons and IWNRX make a name for themselves. So, I mean, it's so tough. It's so tough. Any single one of these teams in the first 2 pages, I think definitely deserve to be in the last stage.
Yeah, I'm happy with all the teams currently in top 6, Jason, that we have. Maybe Stalwart I'm a little bit like on the edge with, but otherwise,
really?
Again, yeah, I'm happy with. I mean, I'm happy with them, but it's going to be close. So of course, there's going to be some teams going down. But with what they've shown, Jason, is what I'm focusing on. With what has been shown from like Voin and RCB in particular, their improvement, I think that they are deserving of a shot to go to the big stage. But again, is depending on are they going to be able to replicate it in last chance? We'll have to see, because that's going to be the big question.
I mean, I thought you'd actually be happy with kind of with Stalwart, considering they've had a complete overhaul from the spring to the fall season, right, or the summer to the fall season. They had to change their roster almost entirely, and for them to come into PMGC with really no huge background, at least if you look over on Wikipedia, I think that's a really telling sign of like how good this team has become in such a short amount of time.
I get your point. I think I'm
และนี่คือ power bank ที่ชาร์จไร้
I think that like Fearless in particular, I've seen some little disconnects from time to time. So I'm like, top 6, maybe not. But if those get changed and improved upon for last chance, like hell yeah, Jason, I'm on board. But as of right now, there's still like some little things that if adjusted might actually make me happy to see them in top 6. But right now, we're still not at that point.
Yeah, how much our team has grown, Max, from those hot drops in Picado back in our watch parties for CSA to potentially
still hot dropping,
the grand
man.
finals.
They're hot dropping FaZe, man. I'm not giving up on that. I'm like, I still don't like it.
Well, let's look at Falcons a little bit here, Hot Jukes, and obviously I did get to watch some of the games with you guys from my phone since I didn't have power. Action. You guys are really on the hype trip about Action. He's like, you know what? I'm going to take everyone on my team with me, put them on my back, and I'm going to get us through kicking and screaming into Last Chance.
Let's go. I mean, this is a team that we expected a whole lot more from. I mean, we were shocked to see them relegated to this stage in the first place. And then all of a sudden, you know, we're worried about them once again. But Action said, okay, enough of this nonsense, guys. Enough of this nonsense. We're going to make it onto that Last Chance. And hopefully we can see something from them as well, because that's definitely a team I wouldn't mind seeing in the grand finals. That's for sure, Max.
Yeah, looking at everyone in this lobby, even a solo is a threat to you. Like they could snatch away some pivotal points that would allow you to qualify in the top 16. And the thing is, we keep highlighting, oh, the top player of Falcons is always going to be top, right? But no, Action, he's the fragging partner of top, and he was able to just stand out. Again, we highlighted his great sprays on the M4 on the teams down in shooting range. His nades, which is not really what you think of when you think of Action. You think of his sprays and long range, like, engages. His nades there were pivotal against the side of Zeus ESports, and I think that really definitely cleared a lot of space. And who's that? That's just, oh my god, he's a Sith Lord.
The Darth Dingoes.
Oh my god.
Well, if you do look at our leaderboards, we did have in the back of our minds, and maybe I wasn't around what changed going into today, because again, having problems on my side. It's looking like that bubble is going to be potentially higher than 55 now that we see with FaZe Clan sitting in 42 points. And I'm getting kind of like, I'm not really 100% certain that teams like Incilio, Bigatron, maybe even IWNRX are going to be safe at the moment.
Yeah.
It's possible.
I think it is possible. It is possible with how crazy these last
เราจะเริ่มว่าในโดดสีกับ
it's going to be close. That's for sure. I think that above that 60-point mark, you're 100% comfortable right now, especially considering that on that second or that last page, right? There's a pretty big drop off in points between 18th and 19th.
Very, very true. And not to mention, some of these teams are probably going to change their style.
ทำไมวันนี้มันเริ่มแมปสีช้ามากเขาน่าจะพักเบรกกันแบบ
we've had it all day so far, Jason. The ping pong situation above and below 16th place is going to change again after this game, so all hands on deck for this match.
All right, well, we're going to drop into our fourth match of the day, our final
ดูอีกสักแมปหนึ่งครับ
of the survival stage.
Final Erangle ในวันนี้แล้วก็เชียร์ให้ทางด้านฝั่งตัวแวมไพร์เฟสแคนขอกินไก่หน่อยฮะขอกินไก่หน่อย3แมตช์ที่เหลือได้ลุ้นแมตช์ต่อแมตช์จริงๆครับ
Access to the north side.
งานโดดไปกี่เกมโดดที่4แล้วตอนนี้
proving to start off in an exciting fashion.
ก็บินปาดอย่างนี้ก็
interesting one to say the least down towards the south side
ก็บินปาดอย่างนี้ก็หวานเจี๊ยบเลยน่าจะกองกันแบบเยอะมากครับ
Two games that we've seen so far, Sandhawk as well as Erangel presenting those really, really difficult starts to the game in terms of circles, in terms of playing paths. It's really not what you want to see going into your last day before Last Chance.
And look at this, ASA8 back down to the military island. Is there danger afoot? BTR dropping out a little bit further east from them though. So ASA8 on that west side split. I'm looking for these vehicle hot drops, Blank. These hot
ที่ใช่สี
spots
ก่อนปะครับ
with this south plane path. This team's tried to access that
วันนี้ผมไม่ค่อยสบายนะ มุกอะไรผมไม่ค่อยทันนะตอนนี้
BTR dropping down towards C block straight away. They spot
เวียนหัวหนักเลยผมเข้าโหมดดูแข่งแบบเต็มระบบแล้วตอนนี้
likely going to be picking up a vehicle for himself in that position. They are split off.
ขออภัยทุกคนด้วยฮะถ้าไม่เล้าใจ
Any pickoffs do happen. Falcons dropping over towards Nova Repnoya, pretty typical of them. Primos being held by the Vampires, who have tried their darndest. Very kind circle though, which. Man, is it kind? Is it nasty? Who knows at this point in time? Because it could be down towards Sosnovka. It could be headed back up towards that north side. Difficult to tell at this stage of the game.
Roy taking a little bit of damage, but getting away from it. Nobody going down just yet. We're still yet to see the full landfall of the teams out towards the east, and there's always those rotational spray downs, those little standoffs that we could be hopping on board with as well. I would be so surprised if nobody goes down here, but it seems like that may be the case. I might have to just be surprised off the back of this drop, as nobody yet has actually taken a knock. Still over by Milter. There's some close proximity. The Falcons leaving 2 of their players towards that north side, a 2-2 split for them, but FaZe are on their bikes.
จมนี่มีต่อไหมครับน่าจะรอบชิง5 ทุ่มครับผมน่าจะขอพักก่อนสัก3 ชั่วโมง
I mean, fair enough as well, because at this point in time, it's a couple points here and there to see yourself safe. You're realizing at this point that teams now have enough points to be like, look, if we get 4 or 5 points on our next 3 matches, we're done. So let's just keep things safe and stay towards the top side. That has been a bit of a difference where our top squads inside of these groups have just performed consistently between each and every game. So it has been the likes of Inko, Tiamba, Getso-Roy, and ASIA, Zeus, and Vampires, who have all just not really been able to find the points that they've been looking for. And if the teams towards the top just keep being the ones to make it towards top 6, top 5, this might be pretty cut and dry, John.
It's a really closely fought competition, though, I think, on all fronts, and the dominance that Group Green displayed really changed up a lot of the dynamics of this lobby in general.
Whoa.
Not playing today, though.
Mid-game jacket removal.
He's looking swift with it, making sure he's comfortable. I mean, if you're going to do it,
พายังอยู่
you do it
16 แต้มครับ
now. It's
แต้มก็
the
ยัง
best
คง
time to
น่า
go
เป็น
for
ห่วง
it
ครับ
in these early spots where you're still getting scouting. It's not ideal, though. Take it off before you get in, you know? It's like putting your seatbelt on and then you realize you still got your coat on and you're... it's rubbish, you know? And you've got to take all that time. And you can't be wasting a second here in survival stage. It's all about getting those points.
Major Pride looking to put more points for themselves. Very central position over towards the west side of farm. Not that they really need to. I mean, 66 points is fantastic right now, and there is opportunity to get even more. But they're a safe team.
ถ้าจะเข้าที่16นี้ต้องมีอย่างต่ำ42 แต้มนะฮะแล้วก็ยังไม่นับรวมว่าฝั่งตรงข้ามทีมที่ก่อตาราง16 แต้มไว้เนี่ยเขาจะขยับแต้มหนีเราไปเท่าไหร่ฮะทำไมเขาไม่แข่ง First Person มันเป็นมือถือครับผมมันเป็นเวอร์ชันโมบายครับเขาเลยเอา First Person อย่างเดียวครับเอา Third Person อย่างเดียวครับ
from 16th place where FaZe is currently sat at 42.
We just had a rundown. First blood drawn. BTR pursued Noki from ASIA on that south coast. They saw him, they spotted it. They're hunting it through, and they know every point matters. Like you were saying, they're one of those teams looking to confirm themselves over that bubble. In that 14th place right now and wanting to go further. Flexing out very, very quickly. Nobody's going to the military island right now, Blank. And I mean, sure, it's maybe 15% of the circle, and if it's very unlikely to end out there. So everybody is conglomerating that northern side, but close to the coastline. South of Potato Hill, south of Pachinki. ASIA gonna have to play on with 3. Not gonna have Noki in the fold. They are going to start to close off their opportunities.
แต่ ASIA นี่คือเสียไป1 คนนะโดนสอยระยะไกลทีมจากด้านฝั่งปากีสถานนะข้ามมา3 แยกครับ3 แยกปั๊มอันตรายแต่ก็ทางสะดวกครับโล่งครับผ่านมาได้ด้วยดี
So they need a big point average, and losing a player this early on, likely to go down early.
คือถ้าแวมไพร์ได้กินไก่เกมเมื่อกี้ผมบอกเลยว่าได้ลุ้นต่อยาวๆ
in this game because they're playing in from the outer edges as well, even more likely that they are going to go down. Yeah, so 3 matches at what we're talking about.
ดูจังหวะไล่ล่ารีเพย์ชนรถคว่ำเลยฮะแล้วก็ซ้ำต่อโคตรดุ
Yeah, it was disastrous.
โอ้โห BTR โคตรดุครับ
That was really awful.
ทำไมเกมนี้มัน
Awful to watch.
แมตช์นี้มันแอคทีฟโอ้ย
Icy?
เทียนบ้าบอกว่า
He does drive
ซ้ำไอ
straight
ซี่ออก
through
จาก
their
เกมมา
compound. The Falcons lose a player. Don't worry though, they've still got
Bad,
action,
huh?
so they've still got 7 players on the team.
Yeah, he did a huge amount of work that last match. Really taking shots to everyone inside of shooting range. Getting a
ตอนนี้
massive
ชิง
amount of
แต้ม
work
กันส
done,
นุกแล้ว
which is
แวม
great
ไพ
to
ร์
see.
ซูด ASIA
And quite frankly, pushing them further up the
ทีม
table.
รอยเทียนบาอินโก้ครับ
So
แล้วก็
now 59
เก
points.
โซ่
Again, those types of games are
แต่ที่
very nice,
16
especially on
17
match
18
three
เงี้ย
today.
เฟสแคนลูปแล้วก็ทีมเก
I
โซ่
always
เนี่ย
say that you don't
บอกเลย
really
ว่า
confirm
แต้ม
it
ขี่
going
ฮะ
towards the 5th match. That's scary. It's a lot of pressure on your hands. So for Falcons to be
เป็น
able
เพราะ
to get that
MSJ ได้
match,
กินไก่เกมนั้นนี่คือพุ่งๆครับ
it's
แล้ว
a
ก็
really
BTR ด้วย
comfortable run towards the end of the day. But they
เจี๊ยบ
can't let the foot off the gas just yet. There is still a little bit more work to be done. It's not out of the realms of possibility to get 0-0-0 on the next 3 matches.
That would be probably the worst feeling in the world, to be sat towards the top end of the bracket and then just bam, 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 down, down, down. That would be really, really nasty. And we are still on track, Blank, to have every single team from Group Green qualify. 68 points for 4MV. They are slowly sliding down the tables as other teams do get past them. But they're still, what, in like 9th place right now, ahead of Major Pride? There's just no way that they don't qualify, which means.
โอ้ยไม่รถมัน
I mean, we were fairly certain before, but with 3 matches left to play, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The buggy's there. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But with 3 matches left to play, there is no way that it is possible for enough teams to surpass 4MV to push them out. And the same is true for Team Liquid, who sit in 71 points right now. So I'm really interested to see what sort of dynamic that's going to bring to the last chance stage. We're going to military. Oh my god. It happened. Mad dash, go.
Yeah, again, I
แวมไพร์ต้องรีบข้ามเลยฮะเพราะวงน่าจะดีลงมิลิเทอรี่เบสครับ
with the way it set themselves up, because there was a lot of circle that was Sosnovka, and teams will now need to, like you say, get a move on. Really quite a tough decision to make early on. Major Pride get themselves in the old ski bike, gonna make their way over.
Uh-oh, Major Pride? They crash into the other side. ASIA going back over the bridge that they left, but Vampire are ahead of them, and Zeus are behind them from up on high. ASIA may just be pulled short here.
ซัดนั้น ASIA แบบ ASIA เหลือคนเดียวตอนนี้
2 players failed.
ASIA นี่คือข้ามสะพานไปแล้วก็กลับมาสะพานแล้วก็แตกครับสวยจัดเลย
Vampire and BTR beyond them.
Yeah, it's almost definitely done for now for ASIA.
หมดทีมครับผม ASIA ครับทางด้านฝั่งสโตนก็เก็บมาได้1 แต้มด้วยกัน
ASIA and 22 points. It is just simply too tall of a task in the last 3 matches. You're asking this team to be in the top 3 times in a row after their current performance here in survival stage. Unless one of them
เทียนบาไปสอยนั่นฝั่งแอคชั่นครับอ้าวมีล่าครับซัดก้ามาครับ
PUBG Mobile between
เอา
the
เรื่อง
next
ครับเอา
20
เรื่อง
minutes and Miramar.
ลูปนี่ยังแรงต่อเนี่ยครับแล้วก็ฝั่งมอแมนซ้ำ9จะเก็บไปครับเป็นแคนก็ได้มา1 แต้มเอาเรื่อง
They have 3 elims. They are a roadblock in the way of Team Queso, of Loops, of Mirin Sejong, and Incilio on the east side. Major Pride opted to go across the water. They did lose one of their players. Becca dropped down the cliff, and under IWNRX weren't quite able to make that one work for them, so they are playing on a 3, but Major Pride are across safely with 3 of their players. IWNRX
แวมไพร์กับเฟสแคนนี่ผมบอกเลยว่า
as we look over towards the West Bridge, BTR stayed on military.
ต้องได้10 อิลิมแล้วก็กินไก่ด้วยถึงจะคุ้ม ลาวินญาสอยนั่นไฟนอลล่วงไหมครับเก็บมาได้อีก 1ครับเขาจำกัดขนาดจอเขาใช้ iPad หรือเขาใช้มือถือของการแข่งขันครับที่อยู่ซ้ายล่างครับ Infinite ใช้มือถืออันแบบเดียวกันหมดฮะ
Yeah, it's straight
มือถือของเมนสปอนเซอร์ครับ
I mean, so many
คือ
teams
บังคับใช้เลยครับ
confirm position over towards Sosnovka. Let's get there right now.
พิวๆลื่นๆนะ
things up a little bit. For Zeus, though, this is an opportunity to pick up a fair few points, but is it enough for this team? Even if they can get
ว่าแล้วก็
6
ซื้อดีกว่า
eliminations
สัก
from
เครื่อง
the
ไป
bridge,
ขอดู
it's always going to be tough moving down towards the south side, and BTR could not be happier with
Infinix
this result.
Mobile
I think a team that, I mean, it's such an outside chance, but Vampire out on that west side, they've got a 2-2 split. They're looking to be controlling. They'll regroup now. DXavier make landfall with Lamborghini. Oh, I said there wasn't any wide splits. I thought that Lamborghini's position was all of them. I guess they're rotating all the way into the south to try and get a little bit of an opening there, but we'll see how fast Vampire regroup on it. The northeast side for Loops and for Mirren
ลูป
Sage.
ตอนนี้ก็ยังฟาร์มอยู่ไมต้านะใกล้ๆลูปตอนนี้ก็เป็นทีม MSJ นะ
Both of them
MSJ เหลือคนเดียวแล้วเนี่ยไปปะทะกับใครมา
so it would be nasty to go down here.
น่าไปโดนเทียนบาร์มั้งเนี่ยเพราะว่า
Mirren Sage just immediately go down to one player is very unfortunate. And they wanted more. You were saying Mirren Sage
สูตรเป็นฝ่ายเก็บไอ้นี่ออกไปก่อน
Circle moves over towards the compound on the northern edge of Sosnovka here in stage
ได้
3.
โดดยัดครับจังหวะเมื่อสักครู่นี้
Nino trying to get these shots through the window. For Vampire, let's put it this way. They need 15 plus elimination chicken dinner. Okay? That's what we're looking for. Which is why I'm just not going to talk about them until they do that.
We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Loops conclude the fight, or rather the blue zone concludes it for them. Mirren Sejong eliminated, 52 points now. They are slowly incrementing their way towards the bubble, but they are still in danger. Meanwhile, IWNRX on the northern side, the cliffs just about in this next circle, but Major Pride hold the other side of it. If IWNRX can get a couple more points, they may have done enough to push them over the top as well. Falcons not so lucky on the south side, both starting this game on 59, and only one of the teams lucky enough to get a point so far.
Yeah, realistically for both Falcons and IWRX, it's around about 7 points. 7 to 8 points, and that's what they need going forward.
เดินจอแบบไม่อยู่เลย
To stay ahead of the pack. 16th place chasing with 41, but Loops are not in a good position right now to continue onwards. Very much stuck out in the blue. Inco trying to get stuff done, but again, another team that is struggling. FaZe similarly on this northern edge. They expected a northern circle. It was not the case.
It's so unfortunate. It was very unlikely to see him
รุ่นอะไรครับ Infinix ผมว่าเขาน่าจะให้เล่นรุ่นโปรพัสเลยปะรุ่นใหญ่สุดเลยปะไม่แน่ใจ
What could be more representative of this lobby in
โอ้
general?
ทางด้านฝั่งหมดไมโลดิอุสครับจัดการครับเล่นโหรัวไป
straight up into him. He's got backup from the backlines as well. As Kalego finds Rafinha.
งอนเซนครับผมเก็บนั้นไมโลซ่าไปครับได้ไปอีก1แต้มครับทางด้านฝั่งเฟสแคนยัดใส่จูเคโอเคชิดขอบ ESport อย่างเดียวฮะน่าจะเข้าวงไงวะเนี่ยต้องเหินลงน้ำแล้วว่ายเหรอแต่วงก็ไม่ได้กินน้ำมากครับน่าจะบีบลงบนเขาหน้า military base ครับอุ้ยมีน้ำอยู่นี่หว่าเอาละฮะแต่เฟสแคนนี่คือตีเข้าวงแบบไกลจัดเลยฮะข้างๆนี้ถ้าตีเข้าไปจะเจอ TQ ดักอยู่ครับโอ้3 ทีมเลยนะตรงสะพานนะเนี่ยเฟสแคนนี่คือดมวงแบบหนักๆฮะแล้วเลือดไม่มีเลยหรือเปล่าทำไมเลือดน้อยอะปั๊มสู้อยู่ครับเฟสแคนอาจจะต้องรีบเข้าครับสเตจ4ครับก็เริ่มค่อนข้างแรงแล้วตอนนี้ไม่พลาดนี่แหละครับคู่ชิงครับผมวันนี้ผมไม่ค่อยสบายครับคนดูจบจากงานลูกค้าตรงนี้แล้วก็น่าจะเจอกันอีกทีตอน 5 ทุ่มรอบชิงครับ
Close by handled the double spray down. Melodious looking for the backline as Kolegot does go down. Takes a second player out with him. Melodious may be able to find a spray on the off angle. There is a player who sent all the way through for Inco, not taking a pause, not taking a beat. As Vitali needs to be careful. You can't res in stage 4, which is why he's not going for that one. Has to dash through. And has to just hope Melodious doesn't connect on the spray. Inactive away.
Yeah, he's going to send out
วินโดเรสครับผมนะจวนโชก็ล่วงเจอวินโดเรสไปครับวิทาลี่ก็โดนทางด้านฝั่งเลยฮะเฟสแคนสอยไปครับเฟสแคนเอาเรื่องเฟสแคนได้มา4 แต้มแล้วออนเซนเนี่ยเข้าวงไงเนี่ยวงมันชาร์จมันบีเหลือเกินโอ้โหได้เข็มฉีดยาฟวับ
Adrenaline shot 2. Maybe looking for a little bit more on the game. And get another couple of spray downs out in the blue zone. He knows if he's able to do that, they will just go down to the play zone anyway, and he'll pick it up the points regardless of whether or not he's alive.
He's baiting those peaks and
ประเด็นคือถ้างัดตรงนี้ไม่ได้ก็ปั๊มลำบาก
They're trapped here by one player. I wonder if they know
โอ้
it's only
โห
one player.
ยาเหลือ2เองครับ
Bleeding out very quickly as well. First aid's running dry.
ยัง
This
ไงดีวะ
is
เนี่ย
desperation now.
สโตนได้บอกจัดการ BTR ไปครับ แต่ถ้านั้นแวมไพร์ล่วง1คนแล้วต้องดึงให้ได้ฮะดึงได้อยู่แวมไพร์ค้ำไว้ครับโอ้โห BTR จิจัดโอ้โหวินโทเลสครับวิ่งเข้าไปชาร์จครับโดนซะเองฮะไมโลดิวสครับซ้ำเลยครับโอ้โหไมโลดิวสก็เจ็บหนักครับตอนนี้ยิงให้ได้ขอเน้นๆหน่อยเรียบร้อยครับโอ้โหกว่าจะเคลียร์ได้หนักจัดเลยตอนนี้เจ็บหนักครับทางด้านโดของฝั่งเฟสแคนนั้นเหลืออยู่2คนครับ
Not quite catching up to FaZe Clan though. Running 47 to Team K.
ได้ยาน้อยนะโอ้โหคาร์ฟครับมารับกันเลยฮะโฮเวอร์คาร์ฟครับแบบคุ้มๆไปเขียนบาร์ X4 ครับว่าไงฮะเดี๋ยวนั้นฝั่งออนเซนล่วงมาแล้วตอนนี้โดดคุมสะพานด้วยนั่นสิเอาเป็นว่าผมพากโดต้าต่อแล้วผมไม่พักแล้วฝืนๆไปครับเดี๋ยวขอจบโดดนี้ก่อนนะเดี๋ยวย้ายไปโดต้าต่อพักไปก็เท่านั้นลีต้าบอกจะการสตาร์เรสครับลีต้าซัดสตาร์เรส2เกมไหมแวมไพร์ดึงกันได้ครับตอนนี้แต่เฟสแคนเหลืออยู่คนเดียวครับเฟสแคนก็ยังไม่อุ่นใจนะอันดับอยู่ที่16ครับน่าดึง placement point เดียวและแช่วงมานี่ค่อนข้างเจ็บอยู่เหมือนกันเฟสแคนอยู่ระยะไกลไม่รู้ว่ามีรถเข้าวงหรือเปล่าทำไมจุดไม่ขยับเลยครับเฟสแคนมีรถแล้วขึ้นแล้ว
over on this side of the map they push ISIA out going down to 2 players is in my eyes a missed opportunity because this could have been the game where they just confirm their spot over towards the top 16. Unfortunately for them now, they have to move over towards Miramar to do it. And I would say Miramar is one of their weakest maps. I don't think they're extremely good on this one. I think Erangel is where they get the most work done, and especially with their drop spot being the location of the circle.
เป็นน่ากลัวผมว่าดีเซเวียตอนนี้
good for BTR, and they could easily fall out.
เอาให้ล่วงเกือบล่วง
Only one elimination. The wrap around. Darkin ready for the spray. Not quite.
โอ้สเปรย์ดีจัดเลยดาร์กิน
And he's taking damage as well.
เกือบโดนครับซ้อนได้ดีครับรีท่าโอ้แต่มีล่าครับออกจากเกมไปแล้วเฟสแคนเข้ามาแบบทรมานนะเฟสแคนบอกเลย
and DXavier in massive positions on this one. They are denying access to the teams that need it the most. I think that the team that is most interesting to me on this game is Tianba. In the middle area of the circle, they've got some buildings to work with. They are playing central. They have 3 elims. This is their last chance now.
ชเวฟบอกจะการรีต้าครับ
towards a contest between
เฮดช็อตมาสวยครับชเวฟ
Yeah, there definitely is a chance for them going forward. Zeus down to a single player going forward, but again, it's all of our big teams still alive.
อุ้ยหนูซี่โผล่ตัวครับโดนดาร์กินครับต้องหลบก่อนนะตรงนี้เอ้าสโตนครับยังไงดีครับล่วงไปเหมือนกันครับโทนี่เคผมไปได้บายซักซี่ครับได้สวยฮะแต่แวมไพร์ต้องดึงก่อนทั้ง1คนครับใครมันขี่โฮเวอร์คาร์วะเนี่ยอินเซลิโอครับนะซัดด้านฝั่ง MP ล่วงไป1เหมือนกันนะ
I wonder if the desk has some analysis on how they got this rotation in because they didn't drop on the military island, but they managed to get through unscathed, seemingly. Only the 1 point found. Vampire pick up a 4th elimination point.
โอ้หนูซี่น็อกอีกแล้วครับแวมไพร์แวมไพร์น็อกอีก1ครับชเวฟแวมไพร์น็อก2ครับแปลกๆครับไม่ดีเท่าไหร่
The door once again remaining firmly shut, not allowing them
เสีย
past
เชิง
the
จัด
threshold.
โอ้แวมไพร์หมดทีมเลยครับจะไปเจอนี่ฮะผมบอกแล้วว่าน่ากลัวดีเซเวียครับเขาค้ำแวมไพร์อยู่ครับและข้างๆก็มีทีมซูสโอ้เศร้าเลยว่ะโคตรเครียดฮะ
for our squads underneath to pick up nearly anything inside this
หมดเลยครับ4 แต้มครับแวมไพร์ตอนนี้
Xavier do take a knock but no flush or eliminations. 101 points was the mark to take first place.
คือถ้าแมปมิราม่าแวมไพร์ไม่ได้กินไก่2เกมเนี่ยผมบอกเลยว่าโอกาสที่จะไปลัดแชร์เนี่ยค่อนข้างยากแล้วเอาใจช่วยผมแวมไพร์นี่มาดี2เกมแล้วแต่ว่าไปโพซิชั่นนะครับจริงๆเอาโต้ตั้งเกมแรกด้วยเกมแรกก็โดนโอบบนภูเขาคนเลยจะซวยขนาดนั้นไปครับผมโอเคครับไว้เจอกันในทางด้านฝั่งไลฟ์หน้าครับสำหรับลัดแชร์ครับผมก็ยังได้เชียร์กันต่อยาวๆครับสำหรับทางด้าน PUBG Mobile ครับฝากติดตามกันด้วยครับผมเป็น Global Championship Series นะก็คือรายการระดับ World นั่นแหละนะครับของ PUBG Mobile ฮะผมยังคงติดตามภาคอยู่ตลอดนะครับผมนะ Last Chance ก็จะเจอกันอีกทีครับในช่วงวันที่23-24นะครับผมเจอกันนะครับคนดูนะครับ23-24แล้วก็จะมีทางด้านตัวของฝั่ง Grand Final อีก 6-8 นะครับดูกันยาวๆครับคนดูนี่ก็ขออนุญาตไปพักเบรกก่อนนะครับส่วนโดต้าส่วนโดโรโร่ฮะโดโรโร่ผมยังไม่มั่นใจว่าผมจะเปิดไลฟ์ไหวหรือเปล่านะตอน3 ทุ่มนะอาจจะต้องไปตอนแบบมาอีกทีหนึ่งตอน5 ทุ่มเลยครับผมโดโรโร่ฮะไปเจอกันครับผมสวัสดีครับผมฝันดีครับสำหรับชาว PUBG Mobile เดี๋ยวเจอกันพรุ่งนี้ 6 โมงเย็นเหมือนเดิมนะอีก2 วันนะติดกับมี Rush Chance ต่อด้วยครับเจอกันครับฝันดีครับ